Discussions are also likely to cover defense cooperation, technology partnerships, and emerging strategic challenges. Modi and Macron will then jointly inaugurate the Bharat Innovates event, which would in fact bring together startups, innovators, and venture capital funds from India, France, and several other countries.
This visit is at the invitation of President of France, His Excellency Mr. Emmanuel Macron. I should note that this is a relationship that has been characterized by exceptional warmth, trust, regularity of contact, and a very strong personal rapport between the two leaders. This is Prime Minister's 7th official visit to France. You may recall that President Macron visited Mumbai and Delhi in February this year for AI Impact Summit. As you all are aware, the India-France relationship was elevated to a special global strategic partnership in February 2026. Both leaders also inaugurated at that time India-France Year of Innovation.
Speaking of the second leg, it will take the Prime Minister to Slovakia on a state visit between the 14th and the 16th of this month, that's June. This will be the first ever visit by an Indian Prime Minister to Slovakia since the country's independence back in 1993. The Prime Minister will hold talks with Slovak Prime Minister Roberto Fico and meet President Peter Pellegrini. Discussions are expected to focus on expanding trade and investment ties between the countries. Now, key sectors under focus include automobiles manufacturing, railway infrastructure, industrial cooperation, and of course, emerging technologies. Then the final leg of the visit will see the Prime Minister participate in the G7 summit in France's Evian on the 16th and the 17th of this month. Discussions there will focus on strengthening international partnerships, rebuilding global solidarity, and reviving sustainable economic growth. Artificial intelligence, viewers, is also expected to be a major theme. In fact, with leaders discussing safe, rapid, and efficient deployment of AI technologies. On the sidelines, the Prime Minister is also expected to hold several bilateral meetings with world leaders. Taken together, the three legs of the visit underline India's expanding diplomatic footprint in Europe. Be it strategic cooperation with France, a deeper engagement with Central Europe, to participation in key global discussions at the G7, the message is one, it's unified and it's clear. You see, India is seeking stronger partnerships in technology, trade, manufacturing, and global governance, while also positioning itself, very importantly, as an increasingly important voice in shaping international agenda. And well, with that, it's time we step into a short break. News and updates lined up on the other side.
They can make me laugh lots and lots and lots and lots. They have to write arts and crafts, colouring, diamond art. Their favourite food is chocolate cake. They should have lots of pets. Goldfish, elephants, tigers, cats and ducks. They should be able to do a Rubik's Cube as fast as me, which is in 1.27 seconds. They can be a magician, so they can magically make me better. They would have to be caring. Strong. Give me the medicine and let me go home. Thank you.
With Select Specs £6 specs, there's so much to see. So much style, so much choice, so much value, and so much convenience with next day delivery and our famous See Now, Pay Later offers. Complete prescription glasses from just £6 a pair at selectspecs.com/£6. You don't get that on the high street. selectspecs.com/£6.
We all know animals have feelings. They depend on kindness, just like you and me. So imagine how they feel when they're beaten, starved, and unloved. Every minute, the RSPCA is called on to save animals in physical agony and mental torment. It's unbearable to see the pain in their eyes. We refuse to give up on them, but to rescue them from a life of fear We urgently need animal lovers like you to donate today. Please call 0800 121 4260 or text KIND to 84903 to give £2 a month to the RSPCA. Your gift will help fund more life-saving rescues, more emergency treatment, and more gentle rehabilitation. Every month, you'll be helping to keep animals free from pain and sadness so they can find the comfort and joy they deserve. Right now, across the country, thousands are suffering deliberate harm. But together, we can show animals what kindness feels like. Together, we can rescue them. So please, call 0800 121 4260, text KIND to 84903, or visit our website to start your monthly donation today. Thank you.
Welcome back, viewers. We now take you to Western Europe, where Italian criminal prosecutors, they've launched a human trafficking investigation into the construction of the new $350 million US consulate compound in Milan. You see, authorities allege an Alabama-based contractor targeted and recruited experienced foreign workers only to trap them in a system of extreme labor exploitation. Court documents show how laborers were forced to work 60 hours a week for less than $2 an hour under constant threats of deportation. 2 American company managers have already been arrested by Italian police while attempting to flee the country. Here's a breakdown of how the operation was carried out and the very evidence uncovered by Italian investigators. First investigation, it focuses on approximately 70 workers, primarily from India and Kenya, who were in fact hired after working on previous US government projects. Now, this includes the US Embassy extension in Nairobi. They were brought in for the massive $350 million project. Contract documents reviewed by prosecutors show that these laborers were in fact promised annual salaries of $29,000 each to move to Italy. However, court records also indicate that the actual working conditions changed immediately upon arrival in the country.
Here at Milan, we work the whole day, like 10 hours per day. Monday to Saturday. When you go to office to ask any question, you are being told you either work or you being returned to your country. I get the amount I get, it was 1,300. Then they deduct 500 from that amount, that one for house rent.
As you just heard, according to worker testimonies, viewers, site supervisors, they allegedly used the threat of immediate deportation to enforce 10 hours daily shift, 6 days a week. Pay stubs obtained by investigators revealed that the cattle deducted massive unauthorized fees for room and board directly from employee checks. Now, these deductions left some workers with a net monthly pay of just €500, which breaks down to an hourly wage of less than $2, mind you. And under Italian labor law, viewers, the legal minimum construction wage in Milan right now is over $15 an hour.
I get the amount I get, it was 1,300. Then they deduct 500 from that amount, that one for house rent.
Now, following the arrest, Italian courts officially placed Cattle Construction's Italian branch under judicial supervision. In written statements, both Cattle and the US State Departments, they've confirmed that they are launching internal investigations and are cooperating fully with Italian law enforcement agencies. Meanwhile, local trade unions are providing emergency housing and organizing legal assistance to recover back wages for these affected Indian and Kenyan workers.
Quando ho letto certi racconti e certe descrizioni, a me è venuto il vomito. Proprio ho avuto un momento di disgusto profondo. E anch'io mi sono fatta la stessa domanda: come è possibile questa spudoratezza, questa tracciabilità di...
Changing gears now, viewers, you see a growing health emergency is once again putting the world on alert on the very edge. Across parts of Africa, Ebola cases and deaths, well, they're rising together, triggering fresh concerns among health authorities worldwide. The WHO has in fact declared the outbreak a public health emergency of international concerns. Now, what is making this outbreak worrying is that the strain involved has no approved vaccine. And that raises difficult questions about the global response needed to prevent a wider crisis to begin with. Now, to help us understand the scale of this outbreak, the risks involved, and most importantly, what governments should and must be doing with it, my colleague Vishal Vivek spoke to Dr. Ashish Jais, the former White House COVID-19 response coordinator in the Biden administration and one of America's leading public health experts. Take a look at this snippet.
Dr. Jha, thank you for speaking with us. To jump right off, Dr. Congo's Ebola outbreak has spread to 3 new health zones. The number of confirmed cases has risen to more than 650, including over 135 deaths. Where do you see this outbreak heading?
Yeah, so thanks so much for having me back. This outbreak is still, I think, growing, and it will continue to grow for many more weeks. I think the outbreak probably began 3 months ago. It went undetected for most of that time for a variety of reasons that we can discuss. And unfortunately, I don't think this outbreak is going to get under control anytime soon. So I expect that the number of cases and deaths will continue to climb in the weeks ahead. But if we do a good job, we can get our arms around this, but it will take some time.
Okay. There is a lot of chatter around this strain of the Ebola virus not having a vaccine. What will it take to get a vaccine of this strain, which seems to be driving the outbreak?
Yeah, look, we have a vaccine against some of the other strains only recently. There are ways of ending this outbreak without a vaccine. Of course, a vaccine is very helpful. There are now some new vaccine candidates going into testing, but that will take many months. And whether that will help in this outbreak or not, we don't know. There's also a little bit of evidence that one of the other vaccines for one of the other strains may help a little. So that will also, I think, be studied. But I don't think the vaccine is going to end up coming in time to really get this outbreak under control.
Okay, very interesting point there, like you made. Some experts in Africa say that young people, some as young as 15 and some not even older than 45, are the most affected. Can you shed some light on why is that?
Yeah, look, the virus spreads through contact, through social contact. When you are sick, when you touch somebody, it spreads through, it spreads through sweat, it spreads through blood, it spreads through bodily fluids. Obviously, when somebody's very sick, if they have contacts with lots of other people, that can cause spread. And so we are seeing this outbreak among young people. And of course, Ebola, unlike COVID, which mostly affected elderly people, Ebola can kill young people as well. So I think there's a variety of reasons here, but I do think that this is a virus that's going to end up being deadly for everybody.
It's time for a quick take segments on this Friday edition of India Global, where India has summoned US Charge d'Affaires Jason Meeks in New Delhi just hours ago again to launch a protest against attacks on commercial vessels off the coast of Oman. Now, this is the second time in 48 hours that New Delhi has summoned the top US official. The diplomatic move follows yet another incident yesterday where a commercial vessel with 20 Indian crew members, mind you, on board came under attack in the region once again. Remember, 3 Indian seafarers who were initially reported missing following one of the previous attacks have now been confirmed dead. According to official data, the American military targeted 3 foreign-flagged merchant vessels operating with Indian crew members off the coast of Oman over a 4-day period. Health authorities in the Indian state of Kerala, well, they've stepped up surveillance and containment measures in Kozhikode after a 43-year-old man was infected with the Nipah virus. The patient is currently on ventilator support and remains in critical condition at the Kozhikode Medical College. Officials, meanwhile, they've traced 77 people who came into contact with the patient. These include 58 healthcare workers, 14 family members, and 5 friends and colleagues. So far, none of the identified contacts have shown symptoms of the infection. Well, diplomacy is often associated with serious negotiations and strategic discussions. But every once in a while, viewers, you see world leaders and diplomats alike, they remind us of their lighter side as well. At the European talks in Finland, External Affairs Minister Dr. Jaishankar shared 2 witty moments, well, that have now gone viral online. One with Finland's Foreign Minister, and another with the UAE Assistant Foreign Minister. We leave you with these moments.
I think actually, we happened, Minister Walton and I, to be discussing that very issue before we came to this meeting.
We signed many deals.
We're not supposed to say that.
Thank you for the question. Thank you to the host for having us. It's been a really quiet time in my part of the world, as you've observed.
That's why you came here.
That's why I came here. I had not much to do, and this looked like an interesting way to debate some of the policy decisions we make often at such a rapid pace.
Being a grandparent changes everything. And now I'm retiring, I want to help protect my grandkids' future.
Welcome to British Seniors, the UK's #1 rated provider of over 50s life insurance. Depending on your age, your loved ones can get a guaranteed cash payout up to £10,000 when you pass away. UK residents aged 50 to 80 are guaranteed to be accepted, and it can all be done over the phone in a matter of minutes.
Be proud to protect your loved ones with British Seniors. To get a free quote today, call our UK team or visit britishseniors.co.uk.
It was so painful to watch. I sat there and I held her hand. She just went. Though people don't like to talk about it, but we're getting older, it has to be done.
Yeah, you got to have that conversation about wills.
Start to think about, well, what would I do? Where would I want to leave things?
Give more end-of-life care. Search Marie Curie Will Talk to get your free will guide.
Your home could help open doors to the retirement you want. Releasing equity from your home could give you the financial freedom to enjoy more of what matters. With 25 years' experience, we know this won't be right for everyone. But an Aviva Equity Release Advisor can help you decide what's right for you. Talk to Aviva about equity release today and see how your home can open doors.
When you love donkeys as much as I do, it's really hard to believe that anyone could hurt them. But so many in the UK are suffering right now. Donkeys like Timmy and Tommy. We found them imprisoned in filthy conditions, desperately underweight and in terrible pain. And Echo, he had been abandoned and left with overgrown, twisted hooves. Every step he took was agony. He couldn't have survived like this much longer. Donkeys are such beautiful, sensitive animals, and it's so wrong knowing that they're still being mistreated in our country today.
If you care about what happens to our precious donkeys, please, will you do something to help protect them? You can by calling 0800 035 7805 and giving £2 a month to the Donkey Sanctuary. When you do, you will help a welfare advisor like Sally rescue donkeys and bring them to safety. You'll help us treat the sick, heal the injured, and give them all the love they need.
It's amazing to see donkeys finally have the happy lives they so deserve.
So please, help us keep our donkeys safe from harm. Call 0800 035 7805 or text Rescue 6 to 78866 and give £2 a month to the Donkey Sanctuary. Because so many donkeys like Timmy and Tommy are cruelly suffering. Please help us protect them right now.
This is NDTV, and you're watching NDTV 24/7.
Hello and welcome to the World Report with me, Arjun Samar Mahindran. Viewers, let's take a look at what's making global headlines this Friday. Let's first get you the latest coming in from the West Asia crisis. You see, the United States, it's close to signing a deal with Iran to wind down the war. An agreement, in fact, is expected to be signed in the coming days, potentially in Europe. Speaking to reporters, Donald Trump has called the emerging deal a very strong memorandum of understanding that he described as, in his words, a little conceptual. Now, following this, Trump has called off scheduled strikes and bombings against Iran. Iran's foreign ministry spokesperson Ismail Baghai, meanwhile, he also approved on the status of the deal, calling it mostly finalized.
deeper talks on nuclear?
It's a very strong memorandum of understanding that is a little conceptual, but it's something that's going to get done.
Washington, comma. This comes right after the U.S. military struck an oil tanker in the Gulf of Oman after the vessel attempted to breach a U.S. blockade on Iran's ports. In response, Iran has launched attacks on Thursday on the sites in Bahrain, Kuwait and Jordan as a response to Washington's airstrikes. Now, amid all of this, a proposed draft of the U.S.-Iran agreement has been released by the Saudi media outlet Al Arabiya. The draft agreement includes a 60-day extension of the ceasefire and, well, the reopening of the strategic Strait of Hormuz. It also suggests that the U.S. will lift sanctions and its blockade on Iran, and that the two countries will in fact hold talks on Iran's enriched uranium during the 60-day ceasefire extension. Furthermore, all parties will commit to an immediate cessation of offensive military operations, and any violations will, well, they'll be handled through a mediation coordination mechanism. Now, as the West nears hope of a deal, U.S. stocks have rallied to their best day in 2 months. Oil prices fell on Thursday. The S&P 500 jumped 1.8%, and, well, the Nasdaq 8 Composite rallied 2.5%. Stay with the U.S., where Trump administration has nominated Jay Clayton, the U.S. attorney for the Southern District of New York, to be his next director of national intelligence. The selection of Clayton, who served as the head of Securities Exchange Commission during Trump's first term, in fact, it comes amid a firestorm over Trump's earlier decision to make top housing official Bill Pulte his acting national intelligence chief. Now, this immediately came following the departure of Tulsi Gabbard. Since Pulte's selection, Republican lawmakers, they've urged Trump to quickly name a more qualified permanent nominee. We stay with the U.S., where President Donald Trump has in fact opened 3 marine protected areas in the Pacific Ocean to commercial fishing with a proclamation on Thursday. That's yesterday. Now, the move, well, it's an attempt to boost the U.S. seafood industry, as the government claims. Trump has targeted marine protection created in the era of former Presidents Obama and Bush that he said have stiffed the country's ability to compete in the global seafood marketplace. Environmental group, meanwhile, they've criticized the move, saying it will impact the vital habitat for rare sea life.
So it's my honor to be taking this action to lower seafood costs and generate millions and millions of dollars in new business for our really great fishermen, great people, by restoring commercial access to 3 areas of the Western Pacific Ocean. It's a large amount of space we're talking about that they were restricted. Other countries would use it, but our country couldn't use it. You ever hear anything so stupid?
And we stay with the U.S., where the Trump administration on Thursday evening, it's appealed a judge's order that overturned the Kennedy Center's decision to rename the venue for President Donald Trump and its plans to close down the Arts Center for a year-long renovation. Earlier on the day, Trump's handpicked Kennedy Center Board of Trustees, well, it voted to file an appeal contesting U.S. District Judge Casey Cooper's decision. In his ruling, Justice Cooper, in fact, here gave the center 14 days to remove all references to the name Trump Kennedy Center or the Donald J. Trump and John F. Kennedy Memorial Center for the Performing Arts. The efforts have begun with removal of the names from email signatures and a change to the website logo, though the exterior signage remains in place as of Thursday evening. A group of sex offender Jeffrey Epstein survivors, where they've come out in opposition to Todd Blanche's nomination as President Donald Trump's permanent Attorney General. The survivors, they're citing his participation in secret White House meetings on how to contain the political fallout from the Epstein files. Now, this comes after a New York Times report that alleged President Donald Trump's top advisors, they gathered in a series of Situation Room meetings. Well, this happened purportedly as they struggled to contain a scandal engulfing the President, Donald Trump himself. Thousands of citizens gathered in Tirana for a 12th consecutive day of protests against a proposed luxury resort links to Donald Trump's son-in-law Jared Kushner and his daughter Ivanka Trump. Demonstrators, they called for the resignation of Prime Minister Edi Rama under the slogans "Revolution" and "More Tomorrow" to express dissatisfaction with the project. Now, some in the crowd even held up cardboard and blow-up flamingos, one of the protected migratory bird species that could see their habitats threatened by this proposed resort. Environmentalists, meanwhile, say the development would have had a devastating impact on wetland ecosystem within the protected landscape. Albania's state anti-corruption agency, meanwhile, it's opened an investigation related to the project but has not disclosed any sort of details as of now. Now we take you over to the UK, viewers, where Prime Minister Keir Starmer suffered a flesh blow on Thursday. This comes after Secretary of Defence John Healey resigned over the budget dispute. Healey has alleged that the government was not willing to give the British Armed Forces the resources they need. Soon after, Minister of State for Armed Forces Al Khan's also announced his designation in a letter posted on social media platform X. But he said that the government is, quote-unquote, failing to give the armed forces what they need to do the job, and in his words, loyalty to stand by them when it's done. Starmer, on his part, whose government popularity has just collapsed 2 years after a landslide general election victory, he's been under pressure recently from within his own party. South Korea's ousted President Yoon Suk-yeol and his former defense minister, they've both been sentenced to 30 years in prison. The judgment has come in a case alleging that Yoon ordered drone flights over Pyongyang to heighten tensions with North Korea and justify declaring martial law across South Korea. Yoon had already been sentenced to life in prison for rebellion conviction over his short-lived imposition of martial law back in 2024. North Korea accused Seoul of flying drones over Pyongyang to drop propaganda leaflets in the same year. Tensions rose sharply, but no clashes occurred. Meanwhile, Yoon's legal team has denied the verdict. Fresh Ukrainian drone strikes in Russian-held Crimea have left most fuel stations empty Thursday morning. This comes after the governor of the second-largest city in Crimea, Sevastopol, had in fact announced on Wednesday that food coupons could not be honored. Ukraine has been intensifying their drone strikes in the supply lines in the Crimean Peninsula. Meanwhile, Russia has launched a heavy assault in the northern Donetsk region, capturing 2 settlements. Over in Latin America, Mexico City is suffering from a crisis of disappearances. That's right, you see hundreds of relatives of missing people. They marched towards Mexico City Stadium on Thursday. Relatives carried photographs of their loved ones and demanded justice as Mexico hosted the opening match of the 2026 FIFA World Cup against South Africa. The demonstrators, they sought to use the tournament's global spotlight to draw attention to one of Mexico's persistent human rights crises. Mexico has more than 130,000 people officially registered as missing or disappeared, according to government data. A fire at a medical equipment warehouse in Northern California in the U.S. It sent thick black smoke into the sky on Thursday. This has prompted evacuations of other nearby facilities as authorities fought to get the blaze under control. The fire ignited at a distribution center in Medellin. It's a major medical surgical products provider, 88.5 kilometers east of San Francisco. Officials worked to evacuate a large portion of the area as the wind, it heightened the risk of spreading embers. The warehouse is in a massive industrial park that also houses fulfillment and distribution centers for Amazon, Home Depot, and FedEx. Chicago has been struck by at least 3 tornadoes on Friday. Now, the tornadoes have battered communities, leveled homes, and ripped down trees and power poles alike. Storms have also grounded flights and knocked out powers for hundreds and thousands of across the Midwest and Northeast on Thursday. According to the National Weather Service, tornado warnings have been in place in Chicago and in parts of Indiana and Michigan. Ministry of External Affairs has urged the United States to halt strikes in shipping on Thursday. This comes after U.S. launched 3 strikes on Indian crude tankers this week, including one that killed 3 sailors. The deaths are the first reported since a U.S. blockade on Iran-linked shipping began on the 13th of April, in which U.S. forces have disabled 8 ships and turned back more than 100 others.
We have seen that there have been several incidents involving Indian seafarers in West Asia in the last few days. We attach high importance to the welfare and well-being of our seafarers community. We need not re-emphasize this point. Yesterday, we condemned the attack on a ship off the coast of Oman, in which, unfortunately, we lost 3 Indian nationals. We had summoned the US CDA here to register a strong protest. The continuing incidents of attacks on shipping in the region are deeply worrisome and a direct result of the ongoing conflict in the region.
External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar has staunchly defended New Delhi's strategic energy choices, highlighting the inherent contradictions in Western criticism over India's procurement of Russian crude oil. That's correct. Now, the seasoned diplomat delivered these sharp remarks on Thursday while participating in a discussion on emerging powers in the new geopolitical competition in Finland. During the session, a journalist questioned India's position on the Russia-Ukraine conflict, accusing the nation of being too sympathetic to Russia. Responding firmly to the critique, Jaishankar articulated India's pragmatic approach to safeguarding its national interests.
I buy oil. I buy oil based on cost and availability. So at that point of time, much of the oil available on the market was Russian because Europeans were essentially buying up the Middle East oil, which was our traditional supply. So circumstances pushed us in a certain direction. But since you spoke about moral ambiguity, I would say this, no European country has been attacked with Indian weapons. I wish I could say that for European weapons vis-a-vis India. Europeans sell weapons which are used to attack India. Not now, for many, many years. We Indians have never done anything to endanger Europe. So I think that's a reasonable point.
Switching gears, Thailand's Princess Bajra Kipiyapa has died after being in coma for more than 3 years. The 47-year-old princess collapsed in December 2022 while exercising her dogs. Doctors had attributed it to a severely irregular heartbeat caused by a mycoplasma infection in her heart. With her death, the Thai royal family has lost its most visibly accomplished member and someone who might have played a pivotal role in a yet unclear succession. She was the eldest child of the king and one of the 3 to have formal title and eligible to take the throne under the constitution. And well, with that, it's time we step into a short break. News and updates continue on the other side.
Pets. Cute, but pricey. For unexpected moments, Drafty's got your back. Drafty Flex is like a handy pot of cash when you need it, with credit up to £3,000 and money sent to your bank in 90 seconds. Borrowing £100 for 30 days costs under £6. Be prepared for the unexpected with Drafty. Good boy. Apply at drafty.co.uk.
Please, can you send someone out? The poor thing is so skinny, I don't think he can walk. Oh, the poor thing. This is awful.
Okay, let me take an address.
Today, the RSPCA will answer over 2,000 calls about animal cruelty and neglect.
Just completely unacceptable, isn't it, mate?
Today, we will need to take over 100 animals into our care. Today, we urgently need your help to save them. Please call 0800 121 4228. Every minute of every day, animals are suffering heartbreaking cruelty and neglect. Every day, our team works tirelessly to save them. A gift of just £2 a month will help us do even more. Answer more calls, rescue more innocent animals, and provide more life-saving treatments. But today, animals are suffering terrible abuse and neglect. Help us save them.
He's just been left tied up, I think. Poor thing's got no hair on him. He's in a terrible state.
Today, please call 0800 121 4228 or text TODAY to 82727 and give £2 a month. That's 0800 121 4228. Thank you.
Now that I'm in my 60s, I want to help make sure that my family will really be looked after if anything happens to me. That's why I decided to learn more about over 50s life insurance from Cover Today, because they're the only over 50s life insurer with no waiting period. Unlike other insurers who could make you wait up to 2 years, with Cover Today, you're fully covered from day one.
Plus, you get your choice of a £125 gift card. To get a free life insurance quote, call our friendly UK team or visit covertoday.co.uk.
When I woke up, they said, Alyssa, you've got leukemia. We found out that the chemo wasn't working.
Cancer is still the biggest killer of children in the UK, but innovative new treatments could help beat cancer for more children like Alyssa.
I'm cancer-free now.
Text, call or search to give £3 a month and help build a new children's cancer centre at Great Ormond Street Hospital. So together, we can save more lives.
The front lines of Kargil. The fury of Operation Sindoor.
So many attacks.
The chaos and cries of disaster zones. To fighter jet cockpits. And the world's most defining interviews.
It's incredible.
He has seen history break. Live. Unfiltered. 20,000 hours of live broadcasting.
Welcome to Left, Right and Centre.
Hard facts.
War-struck country.
Hard questions.
In the Ukraine.
30 years of trust.
In the Kargil area. North Ukraine. In France, in Italy. At Srinagar. Vishnu Shom for NDTV.
Vishnu Shom. Only on NDTV.
Across the country.
He has tracked the pulse of power from Washington to Korea. Witnessed history being made in global capitals and conflict zones. Brought clarity to complex issues of national security and international affairs. Aditya Raj Kaul, covering international affairs like no one else. Only on NDTV network.
Welcome back, viewers. You see, it's quite literally the biggest stock market debut in history today. Elon Musk's rocket and satellite company SpaceX, well, it's listing today on the Nasdaq at a valuation of $1.77 trillion. Now, that's the biggest IPO of Saudi Aramco. Bigger than anything Wall Street has ever seen. The company is offering 550 million shares at a fixed price of $135 for each. And demand by most accounts, where it's been staggering, speculated to be 4 times oversubscribed. Now, as the stock offering is set to be underway later tonight, the big question is whether the valuation will hold. The numbers are breathtaking. Well, the risks are real. Our correspondent Mahima breaks the stakes down.
The DRHP is nothing but like a fairy tale, because it clearly mentions that, you know, he does not want humans to die like dinosaurs, and he wants them to reach Mars and, you know, start a life on Mars. So, of course, that's just one interesting part in the DRHP. But, you know, if you take a look at some interesting facts, you know, this is one of those IPOs where there is no price band set at all. I mean, they have given a price of $135. That's it. There is no price band. And only 4% of the company is kind of being offered right now for this IPO. Plus, there's very high retail participation, because generally in such big IPOs, only 10% is reserved for retail investors, versus that of this particular IPO, SpaceX, a 30% share is reserved for retail investors. The other interesting part is that though Elon Musk owns around 42%, but he owns 85% of voting rights. Now, how is this? Because there's 2 classes of shares. There's Class A, there's Class B. Class A, 1 share equals 1 vote, but Class B means 1 share equals to 10 votes. That means that Elon Musk holds around 12.3% of Class A shares and 93% of around Class B shares, and because of that, he's holding almost 85% of voting rights. And because of this voting structure, only it's impossible to kind of remove him from SpaceX. Only he can vote to remove himself from the you know, board and chairman of SpaceX. The other interesting part is the compensation package. Now, this, of course, is very hilarious, because Musk is said to get around 1 billion restricted shares of Class B shares, and this is on fulfillment of a particular condition. This condition is that he will establish a permanent human colony on Mars with at least 1 million inhabitants, and that's when he gets this bonus shares. In terms of businesses, of course, we've talked about this as to how all three businesses are in losses, and you have Q1 2026 losses as high as $4.3 billion. Valuations are beyond my understanding because 94 times price to sales versus that of an Apple at 8 times or Nvidia at 25 times. Plus, NASDAQ has recently changed its rules for inclusion of such big IPOs in NASDAQ 100 as soon as possible. Earlier, there was a 3-month period within which such big IPOs cannot get included in the index, but now that period has come down to as low as 15 days. So anybody who's holding an index fund or an ETF of NASDAQ 100 will have a pie share of SpaceX IPO even if they don't want to. Lastly, in terms of SpaceX, everybody knows that it's a rocket company, but just 22% of their revenue comes from rockets, 61% comes from Starlink, and around 17% of their revenues come from the AI business. So this, is the entire perspective of this IPO and some interesting facts that, everybody needs to know.
Shifting our focus, the Japanese Airspace Exploration Agency successfully launched an H3 rocket on Friday. The rocket was launched from the Tanegashima Space Center in southwest Japan. The sixth H3 rocket is part of a new 30 configuration test vehicles, which is a booster-free variant of the mainstay H3 rocket. It is equipped with 3 main engines, while previous models had 2. H3 rockets are developed by JAXA and Mitsubishi Heavy Industries Limited, at lower cost successor to the H2A, which flew its final mission back in June 2025. That's last year. El Nino, a natural warming cycle, viewers, it's formed in the Pacific Ocean and is expected to grow to historical strength. According to Met experts, the El Nino will further heat the already warming planet from fossil fuel pollution and will likely turbocharge extreme weather across the planet. Meteorologists forecast it will rival or even exceed a record El Nino that began in 1997. One that triggered billions of dollars of damage from heat waves, floods, and droughts, and to tornadoes and even wildfires.
I mean, one of the obvious impact that we really see during El Nino years is the increase in the global mean temperature. So when you have more increase in the temperature in the background, that could potentially lead to the extremes. So we can feel maybe more heat waves and maybe some stronger rainfall events.
Viewers, you see, the World Cup, it's attracted a variety of unbelievable celebrations this season. But few compare to the craze in Peru. The Latin American nation lives and breathes football. Now, the cops in Peru have also joined in the celebrations now. Peruvian National Police's Green Squad took part in a drug raid. But this time, not in their usual uniforms, but at the mascots for the World Cup. Intelligence by the squad established that subject was a die-hard football fan, prompting the officers to dress well as mascots during the raid in Lima, the capital Peruvian city. Peru's police have become well known for their targeted stings, wearing eye-catching outfits, including superheroes, animals, and even iconic cartoon characters. We'll leave you with these visuals.
Ábrelo. Asegura primero.
Un arma de fuego.
En este momento se puede apreciar un arma de fuego tipo pistola.
This summer, take on the 1 million step challenge for Diabetes UK. Just over 10,000 steps a day, 3 months, one life-changing challenge. Step for a happier, healthier you. Step for your loved ones. Step for everyone affected by diabetes. From the 1st of July, pound the pavement. And every pound you raise will help fund life-changing research and support. Because when you move, we move for everyone living with diabetes. So sign up for the 1 Million Step Challenge. Just search Step for Diabetes and take that life-changing first step today.
Wouldn't life be so much easier if you could control your blinds at the touch of a button? With ultra smart blinds from Appeal, there's no chains, cords or wiring because these stylish blinds are driven by a rechargeable power pack. New ultra smart blinds from Appeal, the intelligent solution for home shading.
No child should suffer the torture of trachoma, but so many are in pain right now. Nananga's lashes have turned inwards. They rip and tear away at his eyes. Pamelo's sight could be gone forever. He's just 3 years old. Kofanga screams for his mother. His eyes are so infected that he can't even see her. For so many children in the world's poorest countries, trachoma is torture. It's a painful infection often spread by flies, and it's destroying children's eyesight. But it could be stopped if you help today. By calling 0800 021 3925 and giving £2 a month to Sightsavers, you can help make sure children get the treatment they desperately need. You'll help us bring them the medicines and the care that can treat infections. And that means you'll be helping to save children from the torture of trachoma and a life of blindness. Please help us reach them. Call 0800 021 3925, text C7 to 82727, or go online and give just £2 a month now. Because we need you to help save the sight of children like Nananga. We need you to help save them from the torture of trachoma.
Gradually reduce grey is the easiest way with Control GX Grey Reducing Shampoo. Reduce a little grey every time you wash for subtle looking results. Control GX from Just for Men.
Hello you. Switching to a fixed deal before July could help protect you from rising energy prices. Switch before the 1st of July at uswitch.com.
Unexpected expense? Drafty's got your back. Borrowing £100 for a month costs less than £6. Apply at drafty.co.uk.
Hello and welcome to India Global with me, Arjun Samar Mahindran. Viewers, we have a packed show lineup for you this Friday evening, needless to say. But first, here are the headlines. External Affairs Minister Jaishankar exposes Europe's hypocrisy on Russian oil. In a stinging reality check, Jaishankar questioned Europe's reliance on Russian oil, also calls out European arms sales. Says European weapons have been used against India, but no Indian weapon has ever been used against Europe. India summons US charge d'affaires Jason Meeks to lodge protests against attacks on commercial vessels off the coast of Oman. This is the second time the US mission has been summoned by the emir. PM Modi heads to France and Slovakia to strengthen India's strategic footprint in Europe. From defense and technology all the way to trade and investments, we break down the agenda and, more importantly, what this visit could mean for India's global ambitions. And as a Hindu temple in UK fights unlawful council sale to an Islamic mission, NDTV travels to Peterborough in the UK, where the temple's existence is in question. Special report by NDTV's Radhika Iyer lined up ahead in the show. Viewers, the top story this evening is Europe's morality gap. Or to put it differently, Europe's favourite habit of preaching one thing and while practicing totally another. Especially when it comes to Russian oil, you see. Europe wants others to stop buying it, but the continent that lectures the rest of the world, well, it's now being confronted with an uncomfortable question. Did Europe itself follow the standards it expected others to follow? And that's that question, viewers. It's now been put front and center by External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar. Speaking during his visit to Finland, Jaishankar delivered a sharp reality check to critics of India's Russian oil purchases. And his message, it was quite simple. India buys oil based on affordability, availability, and our national interest. And after the Ukraine conflict began, much of the crude oil available in the global markets, well, it came only from Russia. In fact, Jaishankar revealed that the United States itself encouraged India to continue buying Russian oil because it helped stabilize global energy markets and prevented a major price shock. Listen to this.
Well, I'd make two observations. I buy oil. I buy oil based on cost and availability. So at that point of time, much of the oil available on the market was Russian because Europeans were essentially buying up the Middle East oil, which was our traditional supply. So circumstances pushed us in a certain direction. But since you spoke about moral ambiguity, I would say this, no European country has been attacked with Indian weapons. I wish I could say that for European weapons vis-à-vis India. Europeans sell weapons which are used to attack India. Not now, for many, many years. We Indians have never done anything to endanger Europe. So I think that's a reasonable point.
Now, you see, there's merit in what the External Affairs Minister has just said. Even after multiple rounds of sanctions, Russian gas and LNG continued flowing into Europe. France remained the largest European Union's buyer of Russian LNG. Belgium continued serving as a major hub for Russian gas imports. Speaking of Spain, well, it remained among the largest importers of Russian LNG. And countries such as Hungary continued receiving Russian pipeline oil and also gas under exemptions. So while India was being asked difficult questions, Europe was quietly keeping its own energy lifeline open like it has for so many years. But Jaishankar's argument goes just beyond oil. Historically, several European countries supplied military hardware to pariah Pakistan, a country that has fought multiple wars against India. French Mirage fighter jets, British naval platforms, and even other European origin systems have consistently and continuously been a part of Pakistan's military inventory for decades together now. Yet there's no comparable record of India exporting major weapon systems that were later ever used against any European nation. And that is why New Delhi's response is gaining traction. Because the issue is not just merely oil, it's consistency, it's national interests. And that's a valid reason for Europe to secure its energy supplies. Then it is equally valid for Bharat as well. And if Europe, you see, it expects the world to follow the rules it advocates, then perhaps the first test should be whether it follows those rules itself or not. As the old saying going, what is good for the goose must also be good for the gander. India has reminded Europe of exactly that. We shift our focus, viewers, where a major legal showdown is currently brewing in the United Kingdom. Now, this comes as a historic temple in the Peterborough area fights for survival. That's right. The local council's sudden decision to sell off their building, it's left the local Hindu community shocked, devastated, and, well, naturally demanding answers. NDTV's Radhika Iyer reports from Peterborough.
Today, NDTV has travelled to Peterborough in England. Peterborough, which is in East Anglia region of the United Kingdom. Within the next 30 miles of where I'm standing, there is only one Hindu temple which is run here. It's called the Hindu Community Centre, and this is run by the Bharat Hindu Samaj for the last 40 years. Now, this temple and their plans to build a full-fledged temple here and to renovate this place has now gone to court. Why is this matter in court? Why has this matter of faith become a matter for legal people to be involved in? That's the ground report from Peterborough.
A temple run by Hindus in Peterborough in the United Kingdom is fighting for its existence. Bharat Hindu Samaj, which runs a temple in a council property, has been informed that the city's council has sold the building, despite the temple offering to buy it out. Beneficiaries are worried that the decision threatens their place of worship and the community centre.
This happened, there were a lot of people were sympathetic towards us as well to get go, and they could see something has affected us badly, the Hindu community. And I think, the amount of help and the amount of support and encouragement we've got across the country is unprecedented.
We have people calling from various countries to show their kind of concern towards what is happening with this center, because our members, their roots are here, but few of them went to US, Canada and Australia and all. So even those guys, whenever they're coming here, they're making sure that they talk to us. They are asking us that, okay, if you need any support.
The council has sold the property to a local mosque group. Temple leaders insist their fight is not against any faith, but against the local authority, and that the council did not adopt a fair and standard process during the sale.
So this is the sequence of events that unfolded. First, 40 years ago, the Bharat Hindu Samaj sets up a temple and a community center. Per year, they pay £1 rent to the council, and that's the lease fee. It sounds ridiculously less, but this is not very uncommon. In Peterborough itself, there are community initiatives which are supported by the council, by different leaders in the council over the years. And for £1 as a rent, as a token amount, community initiatives are allowed to take place. And that's what was happening. For the last 14 years, though, the story changed. The leadership then decided that the council should recover some of its debt. And sources tell us that there are close to £500 million, 500 million pounds, which are in debt that the council has. And the council decides to sell this property because this is one of the ways that the council can recover debt, which is to sell one of its own properties.
The Peterborough City Council faces severe financial pressures. It's a position that it used to justify the sale. That argument has prompted public concern about why the council is then spending public money fighting the community it serves. The case has been heard at the Royal Courts of Justice, with the temple arguing that the council's sale has been made without proper communication and consideration of the anticipated impact on the community. Radhika Iyer in Peterborough in the UK for NDTV.
Shifting gears, Prime Minister Narendra Modi is set to embark on a crucial European tour covering France, Slovakia and the G7 summit. The visit comes at a time when India is expanding its diplomatic, economic and technological partnerships across the continent. The Prime Minister will begin his visit in Nice, in France's Nice, where he will hold bilateral talks with President Emmanuel Macron. The two leaders are then expected to review the entire spectrum of the India-France ties, which, by the way, were elevated to a special global strategic partnership just earlier this year. Discussions are also likely to cover defense cooperation, technology partnerships, and emerging strategic challenges. Modi and Macron will then jointly inaugurate the Bharat Innovates event, which will in fact bring together startups, innovators, and venture capital funds from India, France, and several other countries.
This visit is at the invitation of President of France, His Excellency Mr. Emmanuel Macron. I should note that this is a relationship that has been characterized by exceptional warmth, trust, regularity of contact, and a very strong personal rapport between the two leaders. This is Prime Minister's 7th official visit to France. You may recall that President Macron visited Mumbai and Delhi in February this year for AI Impact Summit. As you all are aware, the India-France relationship was elevated to a special global strategic partnership in February 2026. Both leaders also inaugurated at that time India-France Year of Innovation.
Speaking of the second leg, it will take the Prime Minister to Slovakia on a state visit between the 14th and the 16th of this month, that's June. This will be the first ever visit by an Indian Prime Minister to Slovakia since the country's independence back in 1993. The Prime Minister will hold talks with Slovak Prime Minister Roberto Fico and meet President Peter Pellegrini. Discussions are expected to focus on expanding trade and investment ties between the countries. Now, key sectors under focus include automobiles manufacturing, railway infrastructure, industrial cooperation, and of course, emerging technologies. Then the final leg of the visit will see the Prime Minister participate in the G7 summit in France's Evian on the 16th and the 17th of this month. Discussions there will focus on strengthening international partnerships, rebuilding global solidarity, and reviving sustainable economic growth. Artificial intelligence, viewers, is also expected to be a major theme. In fact, with leaders discussing safe, rapid, and efficient deployment of AI technologies. On the sidelines, the Prime Minister is also expected to hold several bilateral meetings with world leaders. Taken together, the three legs of the visit underline India's expanding diplomatic footprint in Europe. Be it strategic cooperation with France, a deeper engagement with Central Europe, to participation in key global discussions at the G7, The message is one, it's unified and it's clear. You see, India is seeking stronger partnerships in technology, trade, manufacturing, and global governance, while also positioning itself, very importantly, as an increasingly important voice in shaping international agenda. And well, with that, it's time we step into a short break. News and updates lined up on the other side.
Now that I'm in my 60s, I want to help make sure that my family will really be looked after if anything happens to me. That's why I decided to learn more about over 50s life insurance from Cover Today, because they're the only over 50s life insurer with no waiting period. Unlike other insurers who could make you wait up to 2 years, with Cover Today, you're fully covered from day one.
Plus, you get your choice of a £125 gift card. To get a free life insurance quote, call our friendly UK team or visit covertoday.co.uk.
Can meals be delicious, convenient and healthy? Yes. Field Doctor's recipes are dietitian-designed and chef-inspired, so they taste great. Create your personalised Field Doctor menu to suit your dietary needs, made with whole foods. Award-winning meals, delivered straight to your door, ready in minutes. Use code TV20 for 20% off your first 2 boxes. Go to fielddoctor.co.uk/TV. Field Doctor, feed your health.
Our first year as a family flew by. And now, I want to make sure he'll be financially protected for all his birthdays to come. And that's why I'm calling Smart Insurance.
You can choose a benefit amount up to £750,000 depending on your age. All done over the phone for instant peace of mind and protection for your family. And we know family life doesn't wait. So, as part of our Smart Family Guarantee, your loved ones are protected from day one. And 10% cash back on your first year's premiums.
To get a free quote today, call our specialist UK team or visit smartinsurance.co.uk.
Your home could help open doors to the retirement you want. Releasing equity from your home could give you the financial freedom to enjoy more of what matters. With 25 years' experience, we know this won't be right for everyone. But an Aviva Equity Release Advisor can help you decide what's right for you. Talk to Aviva about equity release today and see how your home can open doors.
Lots and lots and lots and lots. They have to write arts and crafts, colouring, diamond art. Their favourite food is chocolate cake. They should have lots of pets. Goldfish, elephants, tigers, cats and ducks. They should be able to do a Rubik's Cube as fast as me, which is in 1.27 seconds. They can be a magician, so they can magically make me better. They would have to be caring. Strong. Give me the medicine and let me go home. Thank you.
Welcome back, viewers. We now take you to Western Europe, where Italian criminal prosecutors, they've launched a human trafficking investigation into the construction of the new $350 million US consulate compound in Milan. You see, authorities allege an Alabama-based contractor targeted and recruited experienced foreign workers only to trap them in a system of extreme labor exploitation. Court documents show how laborers were forced to work 60 hours a week for less than $2 an hour under constant threats of deportation. 2 American company managers have already been arrested by Italian police while attempting to flee the country. Here's a breakdown of how the operation was carried out and the very evidence uncovered by Italian investigators. First investigation, it focuses on approximately 70 workers, primarily from India and Kenya, who were in fact hired after working on previous US government projects. Now, this includes the US Embassy extension in Nairobi. They were brought in for the massive $350 million project. Contract documents reviewed by prosecutors show that these laborers were in fact promised annual salaries of $29,000 each to move to Italy. However, court records also indicate that the actual working conditions changed immediately upon arrival in the country.
Here at Milan, we are working
the whole day, like 10 hours per day, Monday to Saturday. When you go to office to ask any question, you are being told you either work or you being returned to your country.
As you just heard, according to worker testimonies, viewers, site supervisors, they allegedly use the threat of immediate deportation to enforce 10 hours daily shift, 6 days a week. Pay stubs obtained by investigators revealed that the cattle deducted massive unauthorized fees for room and board directly from employee checks. Now, these deductions left some workers with a net monthly pay of just €500, which breaks down to an hourly wage of less than $2, mind you. And under Italian labour law, viewers, the legal minimum construction wage in Milan right now is over $15 an hour.
I get the amount I get, it was 1,300. Then they deduct 500 from that amount, that one for house rent.
Now, following the arrest, Italian courts officially placed Cattle Construction's Italian branch under judicial supervision. In written statements, both Cattle and the US State Departments, they've confirmed that they are launching internal investigations and are cooperating fully with Italian law enforcement agencies. Meanwhile, local trade unions are providing emergency housing and organizing legal assistance to recover back wages for these affected Indian and Kenyan workers.
Quando ho letto certi racconti e certe descrizioni, a me è venuto il vomito. Proprio ho avuto un momento di disgusto profondo e anch'io mi sono fatta la stessa domanda: come è possibile questa spudoratezza, questa tracciabilità di...
Changing gears now, viewers, you see a growing health emergency is once again putting the world on alert on the very edge. Across parts of Africa, Ebola cases and deaths, well, they're rising together, triggering fresh concerns among health authorities worldwide. The WHO has in fact declared the outbreak a public health emergency of international concerns. Now, what is making this outbreak worrying is that the strain involved has no approved vaccine. And that raises difficult questions about the global response needed to prevent a wider crisis to begin with. Now, to help us understand the scale of this outbreak, the risks involved, and most importantly, what governments should and must be doing with it, my colleague Vishal Vivek spoke to Dr. Ashish Jha, the former White House COVID-19 response coordinator in the Biden administration and one of America's leading public health experts. Take a look at this snippet.
Dr. Jha, thank you for speaking with us. To jump right off, Dr. Congo's Ebola outbreak has spread to 3 new health zones. The number of confirmed cases has risen to more than 650, including over 135 deaths. Where do you see this outbreak heading?
Yeah, so thanks so much for having me back. This outbreak is still, I think, growing, and it will continue to grow for many more weeks. I think the outbreak probably began 3 months ago. It went undetected for most of that time for a variety of reasons that we can discuss. And unfortunately, I don't think this outbreak is going to get under control anytime soon. So I expect that the number of cases and deaths will continue to climb in the weeks ahead. But if we do a good job, we can get our arms around this, but it will take some time.
Okay. There is a lot of chatter around this strain of the Ebola virus not having a vaccine. What will it take to get a vaccine of this strain, which seems to be driving the outbreak?
Yeah, look, we have a vaccine against some of the other strains only recently. There are ways of ending this outbreak without a vaccine. Of course, a vaccine is very helpful. There are now some new vaccine candidates going into testing, but that will take many months. And whether that will help in this outbreak or not, we don't know. There's also a little bit of evidence that one of the other vaccines for one of the other strains may help a little. So that will also, I think, be studied. But I don't think the vaccine is going to end up coming in time to really get this outbreak under control.
Okay, very interesting point there, like you made. Some experts in Africa say that young people, some as young as 15 and some not even older than 45, are the most affected. Can you shed some light on why is that?
Yeah, look, the virus spreads through contact, through social contact. When you are sick, when you touch somebody, it spreads through, it spreads through sweat, it spreads through blood, it spreads through bodily fluids. Obviously, when somebody's very sick, if they have contacts with lots of other people, that can cause spread. And so we are seeing this outbreak among young people. And of course, Ebola, unlike COVID, which mostly affected elderly people, Ebola can kill young people as well. So I think there's a variety of reasons here, but I do think that this is a virus that's going to end up being deadly for everybody.
It's time for a quick take segments on this Friday edition of India Global, where India has summoned US Charge d'Affaires Jason Meeks in New Delhi just hours ago again to launch a protest against attacks on commercial vessels off the coast of Oman. Now, this is the second time in 48 hours that New Delhi has summoned the top US official. The diplomatic move follows yet another incident yesterday where a commercial vessel with 20 Indian crew members, mind you, on board came under attack in the region once again. Remember, 3 Indian seafarers who were initially reported missing following one of the previous attacks have now been confirmed dead. According to official data, the American military targeted 3 foreign-flagged merchant vessels operating with Indian crew members off the coast of Oman over a 4-day period. Health authorities in the Indian state of Kerala, well, they've stepped up surveillance and containment measures in Kozhikode after a 43-year-old man was infected with the Nipah virus. The patient is currently on ventilator support and remains in critical condition at the Kozhikode Medical College. Officials, meanwhile, they've traced 77 people who came into contact with the patient. These include 58 healthcare workers, 14 family members, and 5 friends and colleagues. So far, none of the identified contacts have shown symptoms of the infection. Well, diplomacy is often associated with serious negotiations and strategic discussions. But every once in a while, viewers, you see world leaders and diplomats alike, they remind us of their lighter side as well. At the European talks in Finland, External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar shared 2 witty moments, well, that have now gone viral online, one with Finland's foreign minister and another with the UAE Assistant Foreign Minister. We leave you with these moments.
I think actually, we happened, Minister Waltonen and I, to be discussing that very issue before we came to this meeting.
We signed many deals.
We're not supposed to say that.
Thank you for the question. Thank you to the hosts for having us. It's been a really quiet time in my part of the world, as you've observed.
That's why you came here.
That's why I came here. I had not much to do, and this looked like an interesting way to debate some of the policy decisions we make often at such a rapid pace.
With retirement round the corner, I want to spend more time with my family, which reminds me.
Welcome to British Seniors, the UK's #1 rated provider of over 50s life insurance. We're proud to offer our seniors lifetime guarantee. With 100% of claims having been paid, we guarantee your premiums will never go up and that you'll speak to one of our specialists in the UK. Plus, when you sign up, you'll receive a £135 gift card.
Be proud to protect your loved ones with British Seniors. To get a free quote today, call our UK team or visit britishseniors.co.uk.
We all know animals have feelings. They depend on kindness, just like you and me. So imagine how they feel when they're beaten, starved, and unloved. Every minute, the RSPCA is called on to save animals in physical agony and mental torment. It's unbearable to see the pain in their eyes. We refuse to give up on them, but to rescue them from a life of fear, we urgently need animal lovers like you to donate today. Please call 0800 121 4260 or text KIND to 84903 to give £2 a month to the RSPCA. Your gift will help fund more life-saving rescues, more emergency treatment, and more gentle rehabilitation. Every month, you'll be helping to keep animals free from pain and sadness, so they can find the comfort and joy they deserve. Right now, across the country, thousands are suffering deliberate harm. But together, we can show animals what kindness feels like. Together, we can rescue them. So please, call 0800 121 4260, text KIND to 84903, or visit our website to start your monthly donation today. Thank you.
when an unexpected expense catches you offside. Drafty can get you back in the game. Drafty Flex is like a handy pot of cash when you need it. There's credit up to £3,000 and money sent to your bank in 90 seconds. Borrowing £100 for 30 days costs under £6. Be prepared for the unexpected with Drafty. Apply at drafty.co.uk.
It was so painful to watch. I sat there and I held her hands. She just went. Though people don't like to talk about it, but we're getting older, it has to be done.
Yeah, you got to have that conversation about wills.
Start to think about, well, what would I do? Where would I want to leave things?
Give more end-of-life care. Search Marie Curie Will Talk to get your free will guide.
Saying that TVK government is only claiming credit for everything that the DMK has done. Meanwhile, merger talks are on in the state of Maharashtra. Well, they could just be speculations. We'll get you more on all of that and more. First up, the headlines. NDTV has accessed the list of signatories to the rebel camp, 19 people in all. TMC has said that this is Operation Lotus that's happening. Big blow to Congress, Meenakshi Natarajan's Rajya Sabha nomination. It's been cancelled. Top court now. Supreme Court has refused to entertain Congress's petition, saying that it won't interfere in Rajya Sabha nomination process. Congress President Mallikarjun Kharge has hit back and he has questioned the Election Commission of India. It's been a year since the fatal Air India crash in Ahmedabad that killed 260 people. Families remember their loved ones. The wait for delayed final crash report continues. India has meanwhile summoned US diplomat for the second time in 2 days. This diplomatic move is to lodge protest against attacks on commercial ships off the coast of Oman, in which 3 Indian sailors have died. Rahul Gandhi has slammed the government over the deaths. In an exclusive interaction with Editor-in-Chief of NDTV, Rahul Kanwal, at the NDTV Ignite Summit, Chief Economic Advisor V. Ananta Nageshwaran has said that the worst is behind us in terms of cross-border trade.
I would say now in the last 1 week or so, I'm beginning to breathe a little easier. I can see a glimpse of the possibility of India kind of having seen the worst in terms of potential impact of the ongoing conflict.
Well, in the midst of crisis in Mamata Banerjee's Trinamool Congress, we've seen what's happening with that party. It's fast disintegrating. There are mergers, or at least speculations and rumors of mergers that are going on in other states as well. Take, for instance, Maharashtra, which is where these rumors are really strong. And it all started with Nana Patole, who's a Congress legislator. He has come out and said that it's time for all smaller parties in Maharashtra to actually, come to the Congress, come back to the Congress. That's a big statement that he has made. And this has been something that Congress leader Ashok Gehlot has also supported. He's in fact said that these are the parties that split away from the Congress for various reasons. It's time for them. These are like-minded parties. It's time for them to come back within the fold of the Congress. This is the big statement that Congress leaders have made. But this is not just the Congress speaking. It's also Shiv Sena UBT Sanjay Rawat who has said that it's probably time for smaller parties, regional parties in the state of Maharashtra to start thinking about a merger with the Congress party. Now, Sharad Pawar is somebody who's been often talked about as the one who needs to facilitate the process. We'll have to listen to what NCP SP says. Now, remember that many of them could just be rumors, many of them could just be speculations, many of them could just be shadowboxing or anxieties playing out in the open, given that the Trinamool Congress has seen probably one of the worst implosions in the recent times. So this could just be, rumors, but yes, it's also given way to a political war, with the BJP also now reacting, saying that nobody is going to join the Congress party because it is a sinking ship. Let's first listen into reactions before I get in my guess.
नाही बघा, प्रस्ताव हे आता त्यांचे इंटरनल प्रस्ताव काय असतील हा त्यांचा प्रश्न आहे. पण काँग्रेस हा अधिक मजबूत व्हायला पाहिजे देशामध्ये. काँग्रेसमधून निघालेले जे लहान पक्ष किंवा नेते आहेत त्यांनी देशाची परिस्थिती समजून घ्यायला पाहिजे आणि त्यानुसार एक मजबूत अशी काँग्रेस, अखंड काँग्रेस एक प्रबळ पर्याय म्हणून देशामध्ये उभी राहायला पाहिजे.
याआधी सुद्धा शरद पवारांनी काही वर्षांपूर्वी हाच मुद्दा उपस्थित केला होता. त्या दृष्टिकोनात
पवार साहेबांनी या संदर्भात पुढाकार घेतला पाहिजे. माननीय शरद पवारांनी ही जी विचारधारा किंवा भूमिका बनते एकत्र येण्याची, त्या संदर्भात जर त्यांनी नेतृत्व केलं, पुढाकार घेतला तर हा विचार खूप पुढे जाईल.
एनसीपी का ऑलरेडी पहले ही प्रस्ताव था विलीन करना का, तो ऑलरेडी अभी सबको ये लगता है कि जिस तरह से केंद्र में बीजेपी की नरेंद्र मोदी की सरकार ने संवैधानिक संस्था को खत्म करने का काम, संविधान को खत्म करने का काम और देश को बेचने का काम जो शुरू किया है, तो देश बचना चाहिए और कांग्रेस के साथ बच सकता है. ये भूमिका अब सब राज्य की जो पार्टियां उनके समझ में आ गया है और इसलिए ममता बनर्जी हो, शरद पवार जी हो, कई जो सेकुलर वोट की राजनीति करने वाले जो पक्ष है, वो सबको लगता है कि अब देश बचाने के लिए कांग्रेस के साथ आना चाहिए और वो प्रक्रिया शुरू हो गई है.
मेरा तो मानना है कि ये पार्टियों का, संजय राउत ने कहा उस बात में दम है. वक्त आ गया, अभी लड़ाई लड़नी है डेमोक्रेसी को बचाने की. डेमोक्रेसी को बचाने की जब लड़ाई युद्ध के मैदान में हम लोग हैं, तो संजय राउत का मैं सपोर्ट करता हूं कि ये सब पार्टियों की जो रीजनल पार्टी बन गई, कांग्रेस अलग होके, उन सबको वापस शामिल होना चाहिए और राहुल गांधी को नेता स्वीकार करना चाहिए दिल से, पहले से. पूरे मुल्क में ये मैसेज होना चाहिए, अब इंडिया गठबंधन के नेता जो हैं वो राहुल गांधी जी हैं. ये मैसेज क्लियर कर होना चाहिए, तब जनता आपको कामयाब करेगी.
कांग्रेस से जो अलग हो गए, उन्होंने कांग्रेस में जाना चाहिए कि नहीं जाना चाहिए, ये डिसाइड करने वाला संजय राउत कोई होता नहीं. वो कोई कांग्रेस का प्रवक्ता है क्या? शरद पवार के साथ कभी कांग्रेस के साथ, अरे कभी तो वो उबाटा के साथ भी रहो. वो पार्टी का क्या कर रहे हैं? वो पार्टी भी अगर कांग्रेस में विलीन करने की तो उसके लिए तो रास्ते उनको खुले हैं. मुझे लगता है कोई जो पार्टी, इतनी बड़ी पार्टी का प्रवक्ता बनने की संजय राउत ने अभी कोशिश नहीं करना. कांग्रेस में बहुत सारे दिग्गज नेता अभी बाकी है.
Well, we have Rohit Chandavarkar joining us. He's a political analyst. Rohit, thank you so much for being part of this broadcast. You know, the speculations around a possible merger has been going around for a long time. People say that NCP is going to come together, Shiv Sena is going to come together, and then eventually it's going to be just Congress versus the BJP. But all of that is going to take time. What is going to happen first? Do you see any credence, do you give any credence to these rumors that are going on? The Congress party saying that it's time for all these regional parties to come together and join the Congress back.
Vasudha, we are hearing the buzz on the ground, I can tell you for sure, especially in Western Maharashtra, about some attempts being made by some leaders to get in touch with Congress. In fact, Rohit Pawar, who's the nephew of Sharad Pawar, had a meeting with Rahul Gandhi, discussed many other issues a few days ago, a couple of weeks ago. And it seems that there was some discussion there about some kind of an alliance which goes beyond just electoral alliance. In other words, some kind of merger of Sharad Pawar's party with the Congress. Now, let me tell you that officially Congress, Sharad Pawar's NCP spokespersons are denying this. They're saying there is no such talk or there is no such attempt. But multiple sources are telling us that there is a buzz that something is cooking or something is being planned. Now, the way I see it is, what is being discussed or planned is that at least they should fight under one symbol in the upcoming elections. Now, I can see that they have been pushed to the wall by the BJP-led Mahayuti in Maharashtra. Sharad Pawar's party has only 10 MLAs in the assembly right now, and just about 9 MPs in Lok Sabha. This is his worst performance in his 50-year career.
Yes.
So it is obvious that he is looking at 2029 as something which is going to be a big challenge for him, especially for his daughter Supriya and his nephew Rohit. But it looks like, my hunch is that they are going to wait and watch what is going to happen in Bengal. In other words, what I'm hearing from the top sources of NCP, Sharad Pawar party, is that they are going to watch what Mamata Banerjee does and what Congress does with Mamata Banerjee and how that alliance talk or that merger talk goes ahead. And then they will take some decision. And I don't see anything immediately happening. But obviously, all this is happening because they have no other option. They have been pushed to the wall, and this is, a fight for survival for them. Vasudha.
Right. Right, fair enough. Anish Kavande, the fact that TMC is imploding so fast and the fact that NCP's SP has still not lost its MPs despite a dismal performance in the assembly election, Supriya Sule and Sharad Pawar have been able to hold back their MPs together. That's credit to the party. Does this mean that the party now is looking at an independent path? But that's also going to be difficult given that it's not really performed well in the assembly elections. Is there a possibility of a merger with Ajit Pawar NCP, given that the dynamics there has also changed, and eventually are you looking at a merger with the Congress party?
Vasudha, thank you for having me. And since we have Rohitji on the show, I shan't wear my spokesperson hat as much, because if I try to wear that hat and only talk faff, I think I'll get called out very quickly. So I think the facts are in front of us, right? I think it's very obvious that there is no offer that has come from the Congress and there is no offer that has gone from the NCP, because this is simply not the right time to do it. If this merger had to happen, and I speak beyond my role as a party spokesperson, it could have happened earlier. There are no elections coming up, there is no rush, and there is absolutely no need, right? To the second part of your question, I think on the question of relevance, you have to remember that the United NCP in the local sort of body polls got a number of seats that was second only to the BJP, right? And particularly when you see those seats and the way they're scattered, the United NCP actually put up a fairly strong performance, right? So where alliances will emerge in the future, what kinds of fronts will emerge by the time we arrive in 2029 is very much an open question. For now, we are committed to the India Alliance. I think we remain committed to a sort of political project that demands accountability from anyone in government.
But Anish, let me ask you this question. 6 parties in a state like Maharashtra was never going to be feasible. There has to be, some thinking on that front. And like you rightly pointed out, that political realignment will take place at some point. What is the political realignment for NCP-SP? The most organic way forward is to merge with NCP Ajit Pawar, and then probably, is it going to be the BJP or the Congress party?
Vasudha, unfortunately, what has happened in Maharashtra with the creation of 6 parties in a state like ours is that we have become a media circus. Rumors of the 2 NCPs coming together began the day we split. They have continued ever since, right? Every 3 months, this is a sort of topic of conversation. Somebody makes a statement on a slow news day. This is what keeps us entertained, right? So to be very honest, I don't give much credibility to what those readjustments will be given the present circumstances. 2 weeks ago, I didn't know there would be a cockroach Janta party that can pull 2,000 people on the streets of Pune at 4 p.m. when most Punekars are asleep, right? What is the political realignment is for the country to watch and for political parties to observe. We're watching all of these developments very closely. And I think we're going to have to judge the pulse in a way that is very different from the way we gauged pulses in previous elections to be able to decide on the path forward.
So Anish, like his party leadership is keeping his options open. Rohit Chandavarkar, what happens to the national discourse eventually if this merger takes place? What happens to topics and rhetoric like Marathi pride, Hindutva, the Mumbai Muslim, all of these things which have been inherent to Maharashtra scheme of politics? What's going to happen to all of that if it just becomes BJP versus Congress party? Who takes the space of everything that's there in that whole political canvas?
Great question. Now, many of us are asking this question to leaders also, and are asking this question in media in these kinds of discussions, that whether a state like Maharashtra really needs 6 political parties, 6 large political parties, I'm saying, and maybe 3-4 other small parties. So you have 2 Shiv Senas, you have 2 NCPs, you have 1 BJP, you have 1 Congress, you have Vanchit Bahujan Aghadi, you have several others. So what is happening, which was seen in the recent local self-government elections, like the Mumbai municipal election and other elections, was that the opposition vote is getting split beyond limit. Because there are aspirants, number of aspirants, every party wants to contest every seat, and everything is getting scattered and everybody is confused. There is some kind of realization that I see among the top leadership of at least NCP side and maybe Shiv Sena side also, that there has to be some kind of consolidation, and there is no survival if they don't do that. And I can guarantee you that, in the 2029 elections, for which the BJP is already preparing, there's going to be a big force led by Devendra Fadnavis, which is going to get into coordination with many small players and all of that. There is going to be another big force which is led by Eknath Shinde. Remember, he's emerging now after Ajit Pawar's sudden and tragic death. Vasudha, Eknath Shinde is emerging as the Maratha strongman, as we call it in Maharashtra. He's replacing that Maratha vacuum, the leadership vacuum. So there are two big, challenges that are going to be there from the ruling side. And unless the opposition gets together and gets into some kind of alliance of either seat sharing or fighting under the same symbol or something like that, they're going to be wiped out. I can guarantee you that, because I saw it happening in the recent Jilla Parishad district council polls. Also in Mumbai Municipal Corporation polls, you followed it very closely, and you saw that despite Raj Thackeray and Uddhav Thackeray getting together, they were beaten by BJP and Eknath Shinde. So the only chance they have now is to get into some
Rohit,
kind
I
of
think that's a
merger.
very important point.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yes, that's a very important point. We also have Tehseen Poonawalla joining us. Tehseen Poonawalla is an author and political analyst. Tehseen, given what's happening with TMC, given what's happened in Maharashtra Assembly elections, like both Anish and Rohit pointed out, is it a good idea for the regional parties in Maharashtra to merge with the Congress party? Is that good for these regional parties? Of course, it's going to be good for the Congress party, right? How do you see this possibility?
Thank you so much for having me on the show, Vasudha. At the onset, I understand the sentiment why regional parties may want to merge, but I'm opposed to this idea. And I'll tell you what, I'm a Congress voter. I love the Congress. Look, it is Rohit sir is a very senior journalist. I love Anish. He's a great spokesperson. There's Sharad Pawar, who's destroyed the Congress in Western Maharashtra. He knows it, right? He knows it. Why suddenly now do the kids want to come into the Congress and again they'll dominate? So now Supriya Sule, Rohit Pawar will sit on the Congress. Look, the Congress is a very strong party in Maharashtra even today. I am not responsible if the regional parties survive or no. I got to be on my own. I can understand the TMC merger because that helps the party retain its base. But why are you going to get these parties in? I honestly don't know. As a loyal Congress voters, these are the people who have destroyed the Congress. Suddenly you have them coming in wanting to be the Congress, then who's going to be the boss? Supriya Sule will be the boss of the Congress. So you please see, even right now, again, I won't get into too much details. There was a recent MLC elections in Pune, and it was to be voted upon. And, it was supposed to be an NCP candidate. A candidate went away, withdrew. Supriya Sule comes to the Congress headquarters. She sat there. She takes a meeting. So I am not one for this. You've made the Congress lose. Then it can't work like that. Let the Congress, in my opinion, if I were to advise the Congress, they don't take my advice. Okay. Please become a strong force on your own. If the Shiv Sena or UBT or the NCP want to join with the Congress, let them contest under a symbol. But you can't have Rohit Pawar and Supriya Sule as leaders now. I mean, that is
completely out of time, Tehseen.
For one family only will rule.
Tehseen, completely out of time. Anish, respond to that. Yeah.
My only comment here would be कि एक इलेक्शन में पार्टी बनाई नहीं जाती, एक इलेक्शन में पार्टी मिटाई नहीं जाती. I think the Congress party is a strong alliance partner. I share what Tehseen has said. I don't think a merger is in the interest of either party, which is why I don't think a merger will happen. That being said, I think we're in turbulent political times. Let's wait and watch.
Okay, the wait and watch, that's the magic mantra. Thank you all of you for being part of this broadcast. What's happening in Maharashtra is particularly interesting because parties are speculating on their future. But like one of the panelists said, Anish Gawande, that we'll have to wait and watch because political realignment seems to be a reality, but there seems to be several realities that are staring at our faces, and it's better to, wait and watch and understand how things turn out. Moving on to the other big story, and this is about Tamil Nadu Chief Minister Joseph Vijay, who participated in the 11th Governing Council meeting of of Niti Aayog, in which he talked about his state's, Tamil Nadu's concerns. He talked about how he wants the centre's support in several projects, including logistics, including an education hub. He also wants the centre to help him establish a startup cluster, and more importantly, has also reiterated his state's opposition to the NEET medical entrance examination, saying that all central institutions need to have their medical seats allotted by Class 12 examination, which will help students from Tamil Nadu. He has also said that the Sarva Shiksha scheme funds need to be dispersed to the state as soon as possible. He has also requested the centre not to link it with the three-language policy or the national education policy. These are confrontational issues, but the DMK has lashed out at Joseph Vijay, saying that the TVK is riding on the achievements of the DMK government. In fact, Udayanidhi Stalin, the former Deputy Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu and DMK leader, has strongly attacked Joseph Vijay, saying that it's only the DMK's achievements that he has spoken about, and he has not really spoken about those issues that are confrontational, including the Mekadatu issue that basically is a big flashpoint between Karnataka and Tamil Nadu. And Udayanidhi Stalin has said that Vijay did not talk about the Mekadatu issue because he did not want to upset the Congress government. Remember that Congress is part of the larger TVK alliance in Tamil Nadu. How do we look at this? Let's get in our guest. We have Dr. Jaishankar. He's a political analyst. We also have Harish Mohammad Ibrahim. He's also a political analyst who supports the India Bloc parties. Thank you both of you for being part of this broadcast. Harish, I'll start with you. You know, it's just been a month since the Chief Minister took charge. Why is the DMK so opposed to everything that he does? Isn't it better to give him, you know, at least 6 months to 1 year to finally start judging him for his actions?
Vasudha, as a learned journalist, you can't give even 1 minute for a governance to operate. The governance starts at the first second where they took the office as an oath, right? Coming to your point, and Mr. Vijay have made sure to proclaim that he has done everything for the state within 1 month. No, it has been a 5 years of hard work of the DMK, which made the state to be under number 1 in industrial output, GSTB ratio, to be standing across India. And number 2, the women's participation is almost double the average of Tamil Nadu. Almost 42% is because of the hard work across the industries by the industries ministers, sheer hard work. But he is taking the claim that the DMK has not done anything and seeking a vote on these both grounds and coming to power and proclaiming that it has been done on the first 1 month is totally reckless, and he is falsehood. Number 3, and within first 1 month, there has been a
But Harish, where did he say that? Where did he say that? This is Niti Aayog's statement. This is the speech that he gave. You know, he has spoken about what the state wants. He has not really spoken about any political party.
No,
and governance is about continuity, right? The DMK should be happy that he is carrying on these ideological commitments that the DMK made.
No, this entire thing was an ideological commitment or the governance commitment. Whether he shouldn't shadow the previous government, he shouldn't put a reckless allegations against the previous government. And in turn, even in this Niti Aayog, he was proclaiming that the state have done a humongous thing. But in all his meetings and all his rally, he was claiming that the industrial output is too low and the previous DMK government has done nothing to the women participation or to the GSDP growth. Or
that's a point. That's a point. Let me get in Dr. Jaishankar here. Dr. Jaishankar, the Chief Minister on the day of oath taking the Chief Minister talked about how the economy of Tamil Nadu is in a bad state, and he also talked about how the coffers are dry, and he said that he needs more time to work on that. But here he's also talking about how Tamil Nadu is the second fastest growing economy. It's the largest economy despite the war, despite the flux. So what Harish is saying is, why is he saying two different things at two different places?
Madam, I think as a national media, you should not encourage Harish people like Harish to utter some statements which have not been made by our CM Vijay. He has never claimed that in the last 1 month we have done so much for Tamil Nadu, and he has never claimed that. And so Harish cannot say this here in this channel. That is one point. The second point is, the stickering culture of DMK is so embarrassing in Tamil Nadu as well as in the national media. They have not done anything in the past 5 years. Madam, do you say that the economical development and the positive outgrowth of economics in Tamil Nadu is just because of last 5 years of DMK? Or I can quote from Kamraj's period, right from the first 5 years of planning commission from Jawaharlal Nehru's leadership and from the prime ministership. They brought in a lot of PSUs into Tamil Nadu. Even before that, if you go before independence also, right from the British period, Tamil Nadu was well versed in the road connects and harbors were being developed, and and it's the DNA of Tamil Nadu. Not DMK cannot claim that. If they are doing that, that is what they have done in the last 60 years. Mr. Udayanidhi Stalin, his father and his grandfather are the kingpin in making stickers all over Tamil Nadu, stating that DMK is the only thing who has done everything. What DMK has done in the past 5 years, they have increased the debts to an exuberant amount of 10.5 lakh crores, and the corruption has been increased, exuberant. Commissions is on the floor. It's there everywhere. Okay. It's hitting us everywhere.
Okay, Harish, respond to that quickly. Governance is all about continuity. It's not about credit stealing or credit taking. Harish Mohammed, quickly, 10 seconds.
No. It is a laughable stock. I don't want to respond to pinpoint because then the ADMK government left the governments with 6.1%, which has been transformed to the second level of double-digit growth, only state in entire India to be done by the DMK government.
That is because of COVID.
Hello. I didn't interrupt you. You have to have the civil sense, first of all. The TVK doesn't hold any civic sense, not only inside Tamil Nadu, but also in the national debate.
You have
have some civility. Come on.
You have a lot of sense.
We know what kind of a country.
Don't get personal. Yeah. Finish your point.
Vasudha, you have
finish
to
your
get
point.
all these
Finish your point.
civilized people to be silent.
Harish, just finish your point.
Having said
Harish,
that,
just
now
finish your point.
within 1 month, there has been 7 TVK personnel who have been booked under the POCSO Act, and there has been a MLA, Mr. Sarvanam of Srivai who has want to take a job for a women of the TVK party, and there has been a molestation, and she is crying all across the Tamil media for the last 1 week. And what the TVK High Command did was, instead of sacking the Srivai
Okay, you're going off topic, Harish. We're talking about governance and Niti Aayog here.
Of course it is governance. This is not
Harish, you're going off topic here. Thank you so much, both of you.
What kind of governance is this?
Thank you so much, both of you, for being part of this broadcast. You know, the point is you bring this POCSO thing again and again, and I don't think, you know, these kind of personalized attacks really work, because we're talking about governance here and you're repeating the same point. We will talk about this much later. Thank you so much, both of you, for being part of this broadcast. We also want to bring your attention to a very important story that's going around. This is about the controversy that's been triggered by some viral clips of a comedy show that emerged online. This is about women's consent. This is also about women's bodies, autonomy, and most importantly, the kind of abusive remarks that women are often subjected to in the dating sphere. Let's take a look at this report.
तो हमने चिकन बिरयानी खाई, भाई होगी 360-370 रुपए की.
There's a thin line between what is funny and what is not. Latest example of it came from a Gurugram comedy show. Comedian Praneeth More, Dr. Sejal Pawar, and Himanshu Jangra. They thought it was harmless, but paid a price when the reality check happened. Video went viral, action followed. National Commission for Women summons Praneeth More, Himanshu Jangra, while Maharashtra cops have booked the duo along with Dr. Sejal Pawar. Dr. Sejal Pawar, during a crowd work segment, said how they joke about private parts of male dead bodies donated for medical purposes. Dr. Sejal Pawar's college too has ordered internal probe against her. As criticism intensified, Sejal Pawar shared an apology on Instagram.
मेरा जो 3 महीने पहले मैंने शो किया था, उसका एक पार्ट ऑफ द क्लिप वायरल हो रहा है अभी, जिसमें मैंने एक चीज़ बोली थी. एंड I just wanted to come here and say that I'm very sorry that thing happened, and I said the very wrong thing.
Himanshu Jangra has also been facing heat.
They can make me laugh lots and lots and lots and lots. They have to write arts and crafts, colouring, diamond art. Their favourite food is chocolate cake. They should have lots of pets. Goldfish, elephants, tigers, cats and ducks. They should be able to do a Rubik's Cube as fast as me, which is in 1.27 seconds. There can be a magician, so they can magically make me better. They would have to be caring. Strong. Give me the medicine and let me go home. Thank you.
Just because my kids are grown up and have little ones of their own doesn't mean family life slows down. I'm busier than ever. Now that I'm in my 60s, I want to make sure that my family has enough to cover my funeral costs and other expenses when I'm no longer around. That's why I decided to learn more about over 50s life insurance from Cover Today. They're the only over 50s life insurer with no waiting period. Unlike other insurers who could make you wait up to 2 years, with Cover Today, you're fully covered from day one, and you're covered for the whole of your life. Plus, unlike other things in life, the price never goes up. Learning more couldn't be simpler. Go online or talk to their friendly UK team in just one phone call. Cover Today are the only over 50s life insurer with no waiting period and no annoying trips to the doctors either.
Plus, you get your choice of a £125 gift card.
Now I'm with Cover Today, I can get on with something much more interesting.
To get a free life insurance quote, call our friendly UK team on 0800 542 1545 or visit covertoday.co.uk.
Your home could help open doors to the retirement you want. Releasing equity from your home could give you the financial freedom to enjoy more of what matters. With 25 years' experience, we know this won't be right for everyone. But an Aviva Equity Release Advisor can help you decide what's right for you. Talk to Aviva about equity release today and see how your home can open doors.
My Andy's always had this way with money. Loves a car boot sale. He'll come back with this cheeky smile on his face, 2 kilos of buttons, and the deal of the century, as he puts it. So shouldn't have been surprised when he came home the other day, that same smile. Got myself a deal with a Co-op funeral plan, he said. I spat out me tea.
Receive a gift card when you buy a funeral plan with us. Plus our members get even more. However you choose to say goodbye, we help you own it.
Clean anything, anywhere, fast with the StarLife Power Washer from JML. The high-pressure jet washer that works with just a bucket of water. Or connect to a hose for unlimited cleaning power. Perfect to wash your car, clean the driveway, or the outside of your home. And so much more. Switch between 2 spray nozzles, or use the handy soap container for extra cleaning power. Power through the dirt, muck and grime with the StarLife Power Washer. Only $49.99 from Asda, Argos, Morrisons, Tesco and jmldirect.com.
Right now, terrible things are happening to donkeys. They work all day in the blistering sun, without food or water. They're suffering silently, while their backs are breaking. Some are being abandoned and will be left to die alone. But the worst thing you can do to a donkey isn't to break its body. It's to break its heart. Because donkeys are loyal, loving creatures. They trust us to care for them. And when they're hurt and abused, they feel it inside too. But right now, you can do something incredible for donkeys. You can support the Donkey Sanctuary. Just call 0800 035 9318 and give £2 a month. Because your support can help protect donkeys. You can help us to treat the sick and the injured. You'll help to mend broken hearts, so that they can learn to love and trust again. Right now, so many working donkeys around the world are suffering. But we can only be there for them with your help. So please, call 0800 035 9318 or text HEART7 to 78866 and give £2 a month to the Donkey Sanctuary, because terrible things are happening to donkeys. Please, do something incredible for them right now.
Across the country.
He has tracked the pulse of power from Washington to Korea. Witnessed history being made in global capitals and conflict zones. Brought clarity to complex issues of national security and international affairs. Aditya Raj Kaul, covering international affairs like no one else. Only on NDTV network.
At just 23 years old, Tushar Kumar has scripted history in Britain. From King's College London to mayoral ropes, the Labour councillor is now the youngest ever Indian origin mayor in UK history. On the 13th of May this year, Tushar Kumar was officially elected mayor of Elstree and Borehamwood in Hertfordshire. His appointment came during the town council's annual mayor-making ceremony, attended by civic leaders, residents, faith groups and community organisations. At 23, he is now making headlines across Britain and the Indian diaspora. But Kumar's political rise began much earlier. While studying political science at King's College London, he was elected as a councillor at just 20 years old. Before becoming mayor, he also served as deputy mayor, building a reputation for youth outreach, digital accessibility and community cohesion. Beyond politics, Kumar has focused heavily on community engagement. He previously worked as a policy advisor for the UK's Department of Work and Pensions. He also runs free Hindi language classes for British English children and has organised Diwali, Republic Day and Independence Day celebrations in Borehamwood. Supporters call him a youth icon with grassroots credibility. And politics clearly runs in the family. Kumar credits his mother, former Deputy Mayor Parveen Rani, as his political mentor and biggest inspiration. Now the 23-year-old says he wants to inspire more young people to enter public service, insisting that age should never be a barrier to change. From grassroots volunteer to Britain's youngest ever Indian origin mayor, Tushar Kumar's rise is being seen as a symbol of changing political leadership in the modern Britain. Bureau Report, NDTV World.
Across the country.
He has tracked the pulse of power from Washington to Korea. Witnessed history being made in global capitals and conflict zones. Brought clarity to complex issues of national security and international affairs. Aditya Raj Kaul, covering international affairs like no one else. Only on NDTV network.
Well, 12 years ago, when Prime Minister Modi took charge as the head of the country, he promised a transformed India. In fact, a lot has changed in this country, but has performance matched the promise that was made? That's what we are here to discuss. Amitabh Dubey of the Congress Party, Shehzad Poonawala of the BJP. I'll start with you, Amitabh. You know, I saw the press conference that the Congress Party did. In fact, he was one of those people who brought out that 75-page pamphlet, and you said, this is propaganda versus hisab. But, you know, when the UPA was nearing its term, the end of its term, you know, we heard voices like hubris and policy paralysis. There were people out in the streets protesting. Nothing of that sort is happening right now. So how is the Congress Party looking at 12 years of Modi Sarkar?
Well, firstly, I would correct you. I think there are lots of protests going on. There have been lots of protests going on. Most recently with the issue of education. The NSUI and the Youth Congress have been on the streets across the country protesting the alleged corruption that went into the CBSE allocation of the on-screen marking. We've had paper leak after paper leak, 89 paper leaks under this government. 49 exams had to be taken again. And you know what this means for the future of the youth is well understood by everyone. So I think it would be incorrect to say that there has not been widespread protest. We saw the farmers' agitation, which forced the farm laws to be taken back. This has been the case repeatedly. I think the basic fact is that there is some momentum. A country like India with 1.4 billion people will have its own intrinsic momentum across successive governments. So you will have an underlying economic growth, demographic shift. The question is, what do the decisions made by this government produce? And as Warren Buffett said, when the tide goes out, we see who's been swimming naked. And you just look at the economic situation right now. The rupee is in free fall. We have 2.1 lakh crore have left the country, both FDI and investment. India's business community is now all shifted to Dubai, London, Singapore. Their money is now going with them. So this is the reality that we have to deal with, that the government, despite all of its claims, cannot explain how this macro situation has reached here. So this is, unfortunately, the reality. We have a lot of promise, but whether it's education, whether it's the economy and other areas we can talk about, there is huge disappointment.
Shahzad, you know, Narendra Modi is the most consequential Indian politician that we know so far, and we can say that the Congress party probably has not been able to come up as the only alternative. But what he's saying is also right, and especially on the issue of CBSE, every household has been affected because, you know, every household has a child. It's also aspirational. So you have either the CUET exam leak happening or the NEET UG leak happening, or for that matter, the CBSE entire re-evaluation mess that's underway. So is the government not getting its basics right?
First of all, thank you, Vasudha. Thank you, NDTV, for having the two of us. Usually, these sessions are organized in the morning so that if the coffee doesn't do the trick, then two fighting spokespersons will. But let me start off by paying a compliment to my worthy opponent. He has been extremely dignified on television, unlike his other co-panelists in his party. And I love to watch him, so I'm glad I'm on this panel with him. Firstly, let me start by saying that thank you. Amitabh, thank you. Because by saying that protests are taking place, he's actually cancelled Rahul Gandhi's "democracy is dead" jibe. So I guess democracy is not dead. Democracy is alive and kicking. People do protest. The touchstone in a democracy, however, of public sentiment are elections. And unfortunately there, Amitabh, except for Keralam, I think you've been found wanting, because people of this country, right from the Gen Z to millennials to the boomers, all of them support Prime Minister Modi's vision. And while Prime Minister completes a record of being the longest serving elected Prime Minister in this country, let me congratulate Rahul ji for being the longest serving unelected, unelectable leader of opposition in this country. I think he deserves a round of applause for that.
Okay, let me...
But having said that, now let me come to the brass tacks of some of the points. Let's talk about FDI, because he comes from the research wing. Let's talk about specifics. 2004 to 14, Manmohan Singh, $300 billion of FDI attracted. 2014 to 26, under Chaiwala OBC Prime Minister Narendra Modi, $700 billion of FDI attracted. PLI scheme started, more than 2 lakh crores of investment have come in that. He talks about economy and the macroeconomic situation. Today, we've been the fastest growing large economy in the world for a substantial period of time. Just now, we've recorded 7.7% growth and 7.8% in the last quarter. By the way, this is at a time the three world crisis, and our inflation average has been about 4.5%, 5%, whereas their time, the inflation was about 10 to 12%. The foreign exchange reserves at that time was $200 billion. Today, it's at a comfortable $690 billion. The current account deficit was 4%. Today, it's at the range of 1%. So even on the economic platform, for the first time, public sector banks have recorded a profit of 1 lakh crore. These are hard facts. You can't deny them. And what has changed in the last 12 years? Let's get to the larger point. There has been a fundamental shift that I call as Ram and Gita. Now, before secularists get offended, let me tell you. Our template of working has changed. Ram and Gita means what? R for Rashtriya Suraksha. First, Pakistan did terror strikes after terror strikes. We used to give them most favored nation. Today, we have a Rashtriya Suraksha paranormal, which says, Ghar mein ghus ke marenge. A for Arthvyavastha. Today, our economy is growing at the fastest rate, bigger than any other large economy. We are fastest. M for Mahila Suraksha and Mahila Sashakti right from women's reservation, which we are trying for, to Beti Bachao. All of these things, toilets in houses, tap water connections, all of them have improved women's situation. Then we go for Gita, G, Garib Kalyan, 25 crore people pulled out of poverty. I for infrastructure, doubling the rates of highways, expressways, 5 metros in 5 cities, today it's in 20 cities, airports doubled. And T for technology.
Coming to infrastructure.
10 seconds more. Technology, this is the biggest game changer. I remember Chidambaram ji mocking us that we could never make UPI and digital payments possible. Today we are doing the maximum digital transactions in the world, more than all the countries put together, India records more digital transactions, and we've even used digital platforms to deliver public services like COVID app, like COVID vaccine. 200 crore doses were delivered without any kind of failure. And A for Atmanirbharta, defense exports. We used to import our defense goods, scams used to take place. Today we've exported defense goods worth 38,000 crores. Have you ever thought of this? Modi
In the Congress's criticism, I found one thing very interesting. You know, when we talked about Narendra Modi becoming the longest-serving Indian Prime Minister, non-Congress, and also uninterrupted regime and elected, the Congress pamphlet also said, "Dil behlane ko gali bhi khayal acha." That's what, you know, he wanted to say that this is all propaganda. When it comes to infrastructure, that is something we can see and not unsee, because that's something that's making, you know, a difference in everybody's life. What do you have to say on that?
So first, let me address what Shahzad said, is that, you know, X number of things are being built more than the previous. Now, in any naturally growing economy, the number of everything will go up, whether it's digital transactions, whether it's the number of roads, there is a natural momentum. So just like after the Vajpayee government, the UPA built more, then the Modi government built more, and the next government is going to build even more. So just to add up numbers at random doesn't tell you anything very much. The question is, who is this growth benefiting? It's well understood now that billionaire Raj today is more unequal than the British Raj. The top 1% own 40% of the assets. They earn 20% plus of the income. Right? The real wages of both salaried workers and self-employed is lower today after inflation than it was in 2017-18. The real wages of agricultural laborers have been declining over this period. So this is what you can have very fancy growth numbers, and you can have a very good arithmetic sort of set of facts you present, but who is it benefiting? This is the first thing. The second is on technology.
But the government is saying that the welfare net, the safety net has also increased,
the fact is that we are forced
and ordinary
to
people are benefiting is what they're saying. Maybe we are not too ordinary to understand that. Is that something that
But ordinary people obviously aren't benefiting if their real wages are going down over a decade. Now, about technology. The UPA, you know, the digital public infrastructure, let's take that as an example. The UPA created Aadhaar. The UPA created the National Payment Corporation of India, immediate payment system, on top of which UPI was built. This foundation laid the grounds for the digital public infrastructure revolution that happened. Now we come to the next stage. We are now in the age of AI. Where is India in the age of AI? What is the infrastructure that the government of India has invested in? We were supposed to be a software superpower. The number of jobs is obviously under severe pressure. What has this government done to take us there? Why is it that TSMC, which is the largest company in Taiwan, has a higher market valuation than the entire Indian stock market?
Let me
address that. Let
me just finish.
Let him finish.
No, let me finish my point. So just as this government built on the work of the last government, what is the next government going to build on? We are now playing catch up. One reason our money is exiting this market is because all the AI investment opportunities are outside. So this is a very serious problem. So we can rest on our laurels, but what are we doing for the future?
If things were going to happen as due course or as a fait accompli, we had 2 mobile phone manufacturing assembling units in this country in 2014. We imported most of our mobile phones for domestic consumption, because of which we were paying high foreign exchanges for importing electronics. Imagine a country like India. Today we have 300 manufacturing assembling units. The biggest Samsung plant is here. We are manufacturing all American iPhones here, and we are exporting mobile phones worth $10 billion after satisfying our domestic demand. And therefore, our valuable foreign exchange is not leaving the country. Why didn't you do it? We had 400 startups. Today we had 2 lakh startups. We had 4 unicorns. Today we have 25 unicorns. These are not your Ambani and Adani. Those 400 startups to 2 lakh startups are people who come from small towns, small villages, making it big in life. The problem is that how do you measure the difference between haves and have-nots? The Gini coefficient is the only big proper way to do it. The Gini coefficient over the last 12 years has bettered. It has come closer to 0, which is the issue of how it is becoming more equal. Are we a completely equal society? Not. But Congress party is suggesting as if first people used to be completely equal and 40-50% of the resources was not in the hands of 10%. The Congress created this system. In fact, today, 12 crore people have toilets. 4.5 crore people have pakka houses. 12 crore people have tap water connection. You have a situation where LPG coverage is now 100%. You are now living in a society which has more equality than we had 12 years ago. This is the fact, but 10 seconds more. He spoke about what we are doing for AI. We had an AI summit. Now we don't have summits because we don't know who will go naked there. They removed their t-shirt and they started protesting, call themselves Mahatma Gandhi. And finally, I'm saying that they just last second, we spoke quite long.
Okay.
Amitabh says we laid the foundation of everything. I agree, sir, you laid the foundation for everything. You laid the foundation for UPI, yet Chidambaram came and abused it and ditched it. You laid the foundation for GST, yet you all call it Gabbar Singh tax. Let me ask Mr. Amitabh Dubey. We rolled out GST. We got all states on board. The best model of cooperative federalism. And not only did we do that, GST 2.2 has ensured that the average taxes the people of this country pay has reduced. Now couple that with two more things. Reduction of income tax. First you used to pay income tax at 2 lakhs. Today you pay it at 12 lakhs. Reduction of EMIs. Reduction of the money you spend on, say, medicines or on internet costs. 300 rupees per GB. Today you pay 10 rupees per GB. All of this has improved the life of the middle class, which you will never understand. That's why you lose election.
Coming to the AI point, the criticism here is, maybe the government doesn't understand the language, but it's not the opposition that's understanding or speaking the language of Gen Z, which is why young people are looking at other options.
No, that's absolutely not correct. Firstly, again, he rattled off a number of facts of things that have expanded, but does the middle class feel that their lives have improved? Do the numbers show that their lives have improved? Have the real salaries gone up? No, they have gone down. So this is the reality. We can talk about Gini coefficients, but I think the average person knows where they stand. About Gen Z, the BJP seems to have decided that Gen Z is a bunch of anti-nationals, right? Judging from what they talk about. They insult the youth of this country. They throw all sorts of accusations at them. And the fact is that it is the Congress and Rahul Gandhi. You see his communications. Sometimes it's embarrassing for me as a Congress person, but there's a bit of a craze in Gen Z, a section of Gen Z for Rahul Gandhi. They consume the content he's produced, the messaging that he has about where this country has to go. It's very clear, it's there for everyone to see. And to demonize a segment is completely wrong in my opinion.
Thank you so much, both of you. This is a political milestone, 12 years of Modi, but clearly, Shehzad, you'll agree, this is an unfinished story. More has to come?
Yes, we are going on till 47.
Okay, thank you.
So it is unfinished till 47.
Thanks, thank you.
Thank you.
Wouldn't life be so much easier if you could control your blinds at the touch of a button? With Ultra Smart Blinds from Appeal, there's no chains, cords or wiring because these stylish blinds are driven by a rechargeable power pack. New Ultra Smart Blinds from Appeal, the intelligent solution for home shading.
Now I'm retired, I can spend more time with my grandson. I'm proud of him and want to help any way I can. Which reminds me,
Welcome to British Seniors, the UK's #1 rated provider of over 50s life insurance.
Hi, I'd like a quick quote.
No problem. We're proud to offer our seniors lifetime guarantee. With 100% of claims having been paid, we guarantee your premiums will never go up and that you'll speak to one of our specialists in the UK.
Well, that's good to know.
UK residents aged 50 to 80 are guaranteed to be accepted. Depending on your age, your loved ones can get a cash payout up to £10,000.
And that money can help with my funeral costs or even be used as a gift. I'll do it.
Plus, when you sign up, you'll receive a £135 gift card and free 24/7 GP advice and health services.
Thanks, Mum, for everything.
Be proud to protect your loved ones with British Seniors. To get a free quote today, call our UK team on 0800 158 552 or visit britishseniors.co.uk.
Please, can you send someone out? The poor thing is so skinny, I don't think he can walk. Oh, the poor thing. This is awful.
Okay, let me take an address.
Today, the RSPCA will answer over 2,000 calls about animal cruelty and neglect.
Just completely unacceptable, isn't it, mate?
Today, we will need to take over 100 animals into our care. Today, we urgently need your help to save them. Please call 0800 121 4228. Every minute of every day, animals are suffering heartbreaking cruelty and neglect. Every day, our team works tirelessly to save them. A gift of just £2 a month will help us do even more. Answer more calls, rescue more innocent animals, and provide more life-saving treatments. But today, animals are suffering terrible abuse and neglect. Help us save them.
He's just been left tied up, I think. Poor thing's got no hair on him. He's in a terrible state.
Today, please call 0800 121 4228 or text TODAY to 82727 and give £2 a month. That's 0800 121 4228. Thank you.
Unexpected expense. Drafty's got your back. Borrowing £100 for a month costs less than £6. Apply at drafty.co.uk.
Can meals be delicious, convenient and healthy? Yes. Field Doctor's recipes are dietitian designed and chef inspired so they taste great. Create your personalised Field Doctor menu to suit your dietary needs, made with whole foods. Award-winning meals delivered straight to your door, ready in minutes. Use code TV20 for 20% off your first 2 boxes. Go to fielddoctor.co.uk/TV. Field Doctor, feed your health.
Our first year as a family flew by. And now, I want to make sure he'll be financially protected for all his birthdays to come. That's why I'm calling Smart Insurance.
Hi, how can I help?
Hi, I'd like a quick quote for family life insurance.
OK, you can choose a benefit amount up to £750,000 depending on your age.
That's great.
If you're a UK resident aged 18 to 64, you can apply with just a few health and lifestyle questions, all done over the phone for instant peace of mind and protection for your family.
That's easier than I thought. One less thing to worry about.
And we know family life doesn't wait. So as part of our Smart Family Guarantee, your loved ones are protected from day one. And for even more family protection, you can add cover for your children or critical illness. And 10% cash back on your first year's premiums. That's the Smart Cashback.
Protect the life you've built the smart way. To get a free quote today, call our specialist UK team on 0808 141 5855 or visit smartinsurance.co.uk.
Your home could help open doors to the retirement you want. Releasing equity from your home could give you the financial freedom to enjoy more of what matters. With 25 years' experience, we know this won't be right for everyone. But an Aviva Equity Release Advisor can help you decide what's right for you. Talk to Aviva about equity release today and see how your home can open doors.
If Lubasi was your son, you'd do anything to stop his suffering. He's in agony because he has an eye infection called trachoma. It's often spread by flies, like these. If Lubasi was your son, you'd take him to the doctor. But his parents can't afford to get him the care he so desperately needs. You can. When you give £2 a month to Sightsavers, you can help save more children from agony like this and spare their parents the pain of watching their children suffer. Every month, you'll help our eye doctors get to some of the world's poorest and most remote villages. It's so simple to treat trachoma, but we urgently need your support to do it. So please call 0800 038 4920, text Site10 to 82727, or go to sightsavers.tv to give £2 a month to Sightsavers right now.
Pets. Cute, but pricey. For unexpected moments, Drafty's got your back. Drafty Flex is like a handy pot of cash when you need it, with credit up to £3,000 and money sent to your bank in 90 seconds. Borrowing £100 for 30 days costs under £6. Be prepared for the unexpected with Drafty. Good boy. Apply at drafty.co.uk.
Just because my kids are grown up and have little ones of their own doesn't mean family life slows down. I'm busier than ever. Now that I'm in my 60s, I want to make sure that my family has enough to cover my funeral costs and other expenses when I'm no longer around. That's why I decided to learn more about over 50s life insurance from Cover Today. They're the only over 50s life insurer with no waiting period. Unlike other insurers who could make you wait up to 2 years, with Cover Today, you're fully covered from day one, and you're covered for the whole of your life. Plus, unlike other things in life, the price never goes up. Learning more couldn't be simpler. Go online or talk to their friendly UK team in just one phone call. Cover Today are the only over 50s life insurer with no waiting period and no annoying trips to the doctors either.
Plus, you get your choice of a £125 gift card.
Now I'm with Cover Today, I can get on with something much more interesting.
To get a free life insurance quote, call our friendly UK team on 0800 542 1545 or visit covertoday.co.uk.
Broken kitchen cupboard doors, scratched worktops. You need a brand new look for your kitchen from Joe's Doors. Our quartz overlays come in a range of colours and slot over your existing worktop for a quick and hassle-free installation. Usually fitted in 2 days. Choose from our range of doors for your kitchen miracle and you won't even need to empty the cupboards. Call 0330 043 0222 and ask about our 12-month interest-free finance.
They can make me laugh lots and lots and lots and lots. They have to like arts and crafts, colouring, diamond art. Their favourite food is chocolate cake. They should have lots of pets. Goldfish, elephants, tigers, cats and ducks. They should be able to do a Rubik's Cube as fast as me, which is in 1.27 seconds. There can be a magician, so they can magically make me better. They would have to be caring. Strong. Give me the medicine and let me go home. Thank you.
Across the country, he has tracked the pulse of power from Washington to Korea. Witnessed history being made in global capitals and conflict zones. Brought clarity to complex issues of national security and international affairs. Aditya Raj Kaul, covering international affairs like no one else. Only on NDTV network.
Hello and welcome to The Buck Stops Here. I'm Gauri Dwivedi, and this Friday evening, the first story that we are doing a deep dive on. Well, there is finally now that list of 20 rebel MPs from Trinamool that has come out. Curiously, number 13, there is no signature there. Who is that mysterious number 13? Could it be Kalyan Banerjee? Is it someone else? We tell you more on that. Well, even as there is now clamour for a Akhand Congress that is only growing. Whether or not this romance for reunification will take place or has any legs to stand on, we tell you more. But the first story, or the big debate this evening, the rebellion in Trinamool Congress has now reached a decisive stage. For long, we had been hearing about the numbers and names of TMC MPs who dumped Mamata Banerjee. Today, that list is finally out. It's a lineup of 20 rebels, but number 13, curiously, is missing. They will be meeting Lok Sabha Speaker on Monday. Om Birla has given time. Ahead of that, they will also be meeting Subhendu Adhikari over the weekend. They are set to stake claim to be the real TMC, the Asli TMC. Sources say that a big name could potentially join this rebel ranks. And we will know who that number 13 is in the next 48 hours. Who could that be? Will it be someone from the inner circle of Mamata Banerjee? We already know that Kalyan Banerjee has openly made his displeasure known, telling Mamata Banerjee to make a choice, him or the nephew, Abhishek Banerjee, whom he branded as arrogant amongst other things. And as one regional fortress wobbles, viewers, an old idea has once again stirred up, a sudden romance with reunification. Sonia Gandhi, Rahul Gandhi holding back-to-back meetings this week. And now it is Ashok Gehlot and Sanjay Raut who are floating the idea of an Akhand Congress, the offshoots coming home. The same leaders who left to build their own political turfs are now suddenly talking about reunion. After Indie bloc failed to dent Brand Modi, is the opposition now quietly abandoning the larger coalition experiment for an older idea? The question that frames the hour, is Akhand Congress now a revival or is it a retreat and going back in time? We debate. But first up, the sound bites that set the stage for you.
जे काही सेक्युलर विचाराचे पक्ष आहेत त्यांनी सगळ्यांनी एकत्रित यावं अशा पद्धतीची एक प्रक्रिया आता देशपातळीवर सुरू झालेली आहे आणि त्याचीच प्रक्रिया आहे की तृणमूल काँग्रेस असेल पवार साहेब असतील हे सगळेजण त्या काँग्रेसच्या सोबत यायचा आणि विलीनीकरण करायचं असं एक मानसिकता आणि त्या पद्धतीचा भाव आता आपल्याला पाहायला मिळतो.
नाही बघा, प्रस्ताव हे आता त्यांचे इंटरनल प्रस्ताव काय असतील हा त्यांचा प्रश्न आहे, पण काँग्रेस हा अधिक मजबूत व्हायला पाहिजे देशामध्ये. काँग्रेसमधून निघालेले जे लहान पक्ष किंवा नेते आहेत त्यांनी देशाची परिस्थिती समजून घ्यायला पाहिजे आणि त्यानुसार एक मजबूत अशी काँग्रेस, अखंड काँग्रेस एक प्रबल पर्याय म्हणून देशामध्ये उभी राहायला पाहिजे.
देखिए, एक सशक्त लोकतंत्र में हर एक को अपना मन की बात कहने का अधिकार है. तो संजय राउत जी हमारे लिए, मेरे लिए व्यक्तिगत मेरे बड़े भाई हैं, तो उन्होंने एक अच्छा सुझाव दिया है, लेकिन वो सर आँखों पर. क्या होगा, कैसे होगा, ये वक्त ही बताएगा.
बेगानी शादी में अब्दुल्ला दीवाना. पहिल्यांदा तर मी सांगतो की हे जे काही पक्ष तुम्हाला दिसत आहेत या पक्षांचे नेते एवढे हुशार आहेत की बुडत्या बोटीमध्ये कोणी पाय ठेवणार नाही. काँग्रेस हे बुडतं जहाज आहे, त्यामुळे त्या बुडत्या जहाजामध्ये पाय ठेवतील अशी मला शक्यता वाटत नाही. तथापि राजकारणात हायपोथेटिकल बोलायचं नसतं, पण मी तुम्हाला सांगतो कोणी पाय ठेवला तर त्याचा आम्हाला फायदा आहे, आम्हाला नुकसान नाही. याचं कारण आम्हाला अधिकची पॉलिटिकल स्पेस ही त्याच्यामुळे उपलब्ध होते.
Sanju Verma representing the BJP, Karan Verma, political analyst with me on the broadcast. Nilanjan Das representing the TMC. Renu Mittal, a senior journalist who's tracked the inner workings of the Congress party for a while now. And Mahesh Tapse of the NCP SP. Thank you so much, all of you, for joining me on this edition of the Buck Stops here. Nilanjan Das, let me start with you. What is this case of number 13, whose signature is conspicuously missing? 2 days later, these people are set to meet Om Birla, and before that, they are set to, in fact, stake claim as well. Who is this number 13?
Well, first of all, I don't know. I just see a number of signatures. I don't know the content of the letter. What is written? What is written on the other page? So that is something that we also have to wait and watch. Today, after so many days, I have been telling you almost on a daily basis that where is that letter. So today we get to see some signatures. We see a total of 19 signatures. Okay, we have to understand that what they are up to, what these MPs are up to. If they want, they can just go and merge with the BJP because they have the magic number. They have the 2/3 figure. So they can just go and merge with the BJP. If they don't, there is no concept of formation of a separate bloc. So they will lose their membership of the parliament.
No, we'll come to those permutations, combinations. And Nilanjan, we've spoken about those permutation combinations.
I understand that all these people are traitors. I think they are gaddars. They are opportunists. Today, when the party has lost an election, these people just, in order to continue to have their own security and everything, they just want to go and back the BJP.
You've said all those adjectives earlier. You're free to repeat those. But the question is different. I know the answer is same, but the question is different. The question is, who is that 13th person, that big person who is yet to join, whose name is not yet known? Is it Kalyan Banerjee?
No. No. Actually, this is a list of signatures. I think they did some mistake in numbering. So that is what they may have done. I see two separate signatures of Shayani Ghosh and Rachana Banerjee. I know Rachana Banerjee is abroad and Shayani Ghosh was in Kolkata. So, of course, they have sent separate letters maybe. I still repeat that we don't know what is the content of the letter. We have to see. And if it goes against the party line, then the party will take the appropriate decision at the appropriate time. Regarding Kalyan Banerjee, our National General Secretary and MP, Abhishek Banerjee has already said that he is much senior. The party respects his contribution. There has been some differences, with regard to one specific legal suit, a specific case in which Kalyan Banerjee was the advocate. Abhishek Banerjee has changed the lawyer in that case, and that's why that has led to some kind of confusion.
You know the one name that figured again and again for everybody
Kalyan
came
Banerjee
out.
is my MP. Kalyan Banerjee is my MP. I am his constituent. I am telling you, he will stand by Mamata Banerjee and stand by Trivedi.
Nilanjan Das, please say whatever you want to, but it's my humble submission to you that don't make such strong claims, given how this week has unfolded for TMC, only for that reason. Because how it has actually unfolded, it's in your best interest
who are
not
these people
make
who are,
such strong statements. But be that as it may.
All actors and opportunists. They have got some value just because Mamata Banerjee gave them a parliament ticket.
I'm going to...
Kalyan Banerjee, all leader, Mahua Moitro, Kalyan Banerjee, Sudeep Banerjee, Abhishek Banerjee, all these people, the tall leaders, they are standing with Mamata Banerjee and Kalyan Banerjee.
Okay, so I'm going to...
I believe, this is my confidence that he will remain with the party.
Okay. So I'm going to, not right now, but in a minute during this broadcast, I'm going to play that soundbite out of exactly what Abhishek Banerjee said there, Nilanjan Das. And then we're going to talk about that one man who has figured through every rebel MLA and MP's angst against the party, how his tone has now suddenly changed. Someone who's branded arrogant by your party MLAs, your party councillors, your party MPs is now suddenly saying he has the right, Kalyan Banerjee has the right to express his views. He's elder than me. He's known me from my childhood. I have nothing to say against him. So what does that climb down indicate is a larger question. But I want to first now get in also Karan Verma on the one fact, I think, which is very important to understand about this missing person number 13. Those signatures have come out. They are going to meet the speaker on Monday. The speaker has already indicated that he will meet the rebel camp. Of course, those numbers need to be paraded, and that's when the next course of action is going to take place. But who is this number 13?
Well, your guess is as good as mine, Gauri, to be honest. But look at the arrogance that we still have from the TMC ranks. Nilanjan Das just said that all these people are irrelevant. Well, if there's someone who's irrelevant, it's Mamata Banerjee, who lost her own seat in an election, for crying out loud. I mean, if anything, you should apply a dose of humility. Useless, yeah, I know. You and your party has been reduced to be useless. That is your reality, unfortunately.
Traitors.
That is, exactly, that's what your party is today. That's what your party, you've lost the election, rejected by the people, you've lost your symbol, you've lost your party.
No, we haven't
entire
lost
arrogance
symbol.
that you had,
Similar
bravado, that we are not, please let me speak, please have some decency. This is not your office. This is not your office. This is a panel of a news channel, reputed news channel. Don't speak out of turn. This is not your party. Ye gundagardi nahi yahan pe.
You should also behave.
So, Gauri, these people have had this false bravado even before the election. You'd remember. Amit Shah yahan aa nahi payenge after the 4th of May. He will not be able to enter here. What happened? Abhishek Banerjee has been straightened out by the people of Bengal. He has been given a treatment that probably, I mean, if anything, that should drill sense. Of course, the law should not be taken in anyone's hands. But I mean, if anything, I think after losing their party, their symbol, they should not lose their mind. They should be humble and go back to the people and apologize. If anything. And why are you calling people like Kirti Azad Gaddar? But Kirti Azad is also Gaddar by your standard and by your metric.
Who has called him
That
Gaddar?
man's father was from the Congress. He was in the
Kirti
BJP
Azad
all
is
these
very much with
years.
Mamata
He left
Banerjee.
BJP when he didn't get his way. He came to TMC. So why are you calling Kirti Azad a Gaddar? And Kirti Azad of all people is telling everyone what loyalty is. I mean, talk about devil quoting the scriptures, Gauri. That's the crazy, absurd
He
dance
has
that's happening
gone
in
out of the
TMC
party.
ranks.
He has
And they
left
deserve it,
BJP.
honestly.
He left BJP.
Okay.
He joined TMC.
Nilanjan Das.
Nothing is left of your party, sir. Party कुछ नहीं बची है. There is no party.
हम
You
बचे
don't
हैं
have a
ना,
party.
हम
You don't
बचे
have a
हैं.
symbol.
हम
You
तो
don't
बिकने
have
वाले
MPs. You
आदमी
don't
नहीं
have
हैं.
MPs. There is nothing
We are
left
not
of you.
Bikao. We are not
There
Bikao
is
like
no
this,
credibility, no mandate, no party left of you.
We
The
have
only thing that
41%
can
vote
be
with
left is
us.
your
I
sanity,
represent
and I guess you are
41% of
losing
Bengal.
that also here.
I represent
And I guess
41%.
I'm now going to get the two ladies on the panel. On the other important aspect, the big romance for reunification that one has seen through the day. You know, Renu Mittal, let me start with you and then I get in Sanju Verma as well. Renu, you've tracked the Congress very closely. You've seen that entire splinter group that was formed in, 98, 99, all of that period you've seen, you've tracked closely. What do you make of this sudden urge to now come out with an Akhand Congress? Ashok Gehlot is talking about it, Sanjay Raut is talking about it, Nana Patole is mentioning it. What's the story here? Can it happen?
I think, Gauri, the real story here is that Sharad Pawar is interested in a kind of a tie-up with the Congress party, even a merger if it's possible. But then you see there are very, very deep permutations and combinations that involve a merger. As far as Mamta is concerned, that idea has not been mooted. That discussion has not taken place, neither from the Congress side nor from Mamta's side. There are some trigger-happy people who love to come on TV and make tall claims.
No, Ashok Gehlot is not trigger-happy, Renu Mittal. Ashok Gehlot is a very senior...
What I have checked up is that this is exactly what has happened in the case of Mamata Banerjee. I'm just putting the facts on the ground that Mamata Banerjee has not mooted this idea, nor has Sonia Gandhi in the meeting, but some people have claimed that she has. Now, these things can't be done so non-seriously. As far as Patole, yes, Patole has been speaking about it because it involves Maharashtra. And from what I hear is that Sharad Pawarji is definitely interested in some, because after the way his party was fragmented and whatever is happening in Maharashtra, he may be looking for a way of adjusting his daughter and the rest of the people in the NCP. Now, as far as Ashok Gehlot is concerned, I think he's just sort of riding on the coattails of what others are saying. He's a senior leader of the party who is a has-been. You know, he's no longer relevant in the current scheme of things as far as the Gandhis are concerned. After his September 25th, do you remember rebellion that he did in Jaipur against Sonia Gandhi, who was the then president? He doesn't have very much of a locus standi.
Okay.
I think if talk of a merger comes, it will only be after matters are settled within the TMC. They are able to get their house in order. Whoever has to leave will leave. Let's see how many people remain, because it's still early days. And it's a work in progress. They're still going on about who is going to leave and who is going to stay. Some people have backtracked. Like Shatrughan Sinha says, no, I'm with Mamta. There is a lot of anger and angst against Abhishek Banerjee. That all has to be resolved.
Indeed, that has to be accounted for. Hold that thought, Renu, because I want to get in a counter from Sanju Verma on just that. I'm going to come back to you, ma'am.
I'll just make one small point on this, that, you know, just like we have Mr. Modi bringing in all kinds of extraneous things like Gymkhana ko band kar denge to distract attention. Maybe Congress is doing the same thing. So let's talk about all these other issues and not...
Sanju, respond to what Renu Mittal is saying.
Till they actually get settled down, you know. That's what I'm saying.
Okay. Gauri, I've heard everybody. You know, I'm reminded of the famous Hindi ki kahawat. Na khuda hi mila na gilase sanam. Na khuda hi mila na gilase sanam. Na idhar ke hue na udhar ke hue. And this applies to the opposition, which is a fractious, fractured, debilitated, divisive bunch of people who've come together, not driven by any ideological mooring, but by just one thing. Their binding glue is their visceral hatred for one man, Narendra Modi. And I've said this a zillion times. This is repetitive, but it needs to be reinforced. If the opposition wants to take on the BJP seriously, like the opposition acolytes claim on national television day after day, evening after evening, you have to have something more rather than just one binding glue, कि भाई हमें नरेंद्र मोदी पसंद नहीं है, आपके पास आइडियोलॉजी नहीं है, कॉमन मिनिमम प्रोग्राम नहीं है, नेता नहीं है, नीति नहीं है, नियत नहीं है, नेतृत्व नहीं है, कार्यक्रम नहीं है, कार्यकोष्ठी नहीं है, कार्यशैली नहीं है. Anyway, coming now to the limited point of what Renu Mittal said. I come from Mumbai, Maharashtra, and Nana Patole's name came up in the discussion. I just want to say one thing, Gauri, for the benefit of your viewers. In Maharashtra, everybody knows it's Nana Patole versus Bhai Jagtap versus Prithviraj Chauhan versus Varsha Gaikwad versus Aslam Sheikh versus XYZ.
Okay.
फिर बात करते हैं राजस्थान में. You know, Akhand Congress, I like the term used by Gauri, but I think Akhand Congress 21st century में तो नहीं होगा. बाद में होगा या नहीं, I don't know. Because look at Rajasthan. Ashok Gehlot versus Sachin Pilot. Look at Chhattisgarh for the longest time. Bhupesh Baghel versus T.S. Singhdeo.
Okay.
And look at Kerala. V.D. Satishan versus K.C. Venugopal के बीच में जो हुआ before V.D. Satishan became Kerala's chief minister, that is publicly documented.
There are wide cracks within the Congress's house itself, is
Yes.
what you're saying. Yeah.
And my final point, you know, who will be the 20th MP? Because, you know, NDTV has been coming out with one breaking news after another. I have a list. In the list that I have with me, surprisingly at number 13, there is a man called Yusuf Pathan. But I think that is just a chronological list. It necessarily doesn't have to do with, you know, currently who the 20th man will be. It could be Kirti Azad.
Yes.
It could be Shatrughan Sinha. It could be Kalyan Banerjee. Or that 20th could also be a woman called Pratima Mandal. I don't think that woman will be...
You know, whichever of those names are, it has to come out before Monday because the speaker has given that time to this rebel group. I want to get a counter from Mahesh Tapse on just what Sanju Verma said about how is it that any of these parties or offshoots of the Congress can actually come together, because as the BJP says that they have no agenda, they have no roadmap, they don't have a leader. How is it that they can come together and become a formidable force?
Good evening, NDTV and all panelists and all viewers. So it's not important what Sanju Verma says regarding the entire opposition. It is important what the leaders of the opposition have to say to the people of the country. And as far as this new news that has been coming about mergers and all parties coming back to the Congress, I don't think any such proposal has been put up to the NCP, SP as of now. We have seen leaders like Sanjay Raoji, Mr. Nana Patole ji making some statements, but nothing officially has come to us. If you remember, just 2 days ago, we celebrated our 27th Foundation Day, and there's a large gathering, huge gathering, soliciting again, standing by Mr. Pawar himself, Supriya Sule, and all of the leaders of the party. So we are all geared up to build our own cadre. I mean, it was the BJP who actually destroyed the NCP, and they took the person they hated the most, which is Ajit Dada Pawar. They said, it was the Prime Minister who said that somebody has siphoned out 70,000 crores from Maharashtra. And next day, Ajit Dada was in their party. So it's not important. People know that BJP is like a washing machine nowadays. So as far as NCP's merger with the Congress, I can just tell you one thing very frankly, that though we may be out of the Congress party, but we are not out of the Nehruvian Gandhian ideology.
Okay.
So on the ideological front, we are definitely with the Congress party. That doesn't mean that we are re-entering the Congress party as of now. And there is no proposal from the Congress party, from the Congress High Command to our party High Command.
Okay, very quickly, I think both Sanju and Renu want to come in there. Very quickly, yes. Sanju and then Renu Mittal, yes.
Yeah. No, what? You know, I just want to... Does Renu want to go ahead? Because let her go ahead and I'll come in.
Okay, Renu Mittal.
Okay. I can speak because, you know, Sanju Verma comes up with a rehearsed lines in every program and then she parrots them off without saying anything original. The fact is that, you know, once the chips are down and a party loses the election and is no longer in the government, you see what happens, because we are living in an era of opportunism. Let's see what happens to the BJP. All these tall claims will really fly to the winds once the government goes. And let's see then how many people desert the sinking ship. So it's a phenomena we are experiencing every day, with parties breaking down, with all kinds of problems happening. And I think that as far as the merger is concerned, merger, it may be an idea, but I think that it's not got off the drawing board. It's not really
Will
taking
they
shape
accept
as of
Rahul
now.
Gandhi as their
And
leader?
It will take time.
After all that they have said, Renu Mittal.
No, it's not. It's people do. I told you, people will speak. They love speaking on national television, and if they get a good forum, why not? So BJP is also fueling some of this to create discord because there is no proposal as of now of a merger. What I have checked up, please you all can feel free to check up on your own. This is not happening as of now.
So I'll tell you, yeah, Sanju, I'm going to let you come in and then Nilanjan Das as well. But Rahul Gandhi said this with regard to TMC, and this is very important, viewers. He says, I have many friends in the TMC. They were convinced that they were sweeping the election in Bengal. I kept telling them that you are in dreamland. These are Rahul Gandhi's exact words. And now let me tell you exactly the last time what Mamata Banerjee said with regard to Rahul Gandhi and what were her exact words. Her exact words were that Rahul Gandhi is a kid. Rahul Gandhi is a kid and cannot be taken seriously. He has said whatever he felt like. I won't like to comment because he is a kid. What can I say about what kids say? So this is the kind of commentary that has happened and comments that have been made from both sides with regard to Rahul Gandhi and Mamata Banerjee. And Ashok Gehlot is very clear. Party mein aana hai to Rahul Gandhi hi leader hai.
This is pre-defeat. You see, the fact is that Mamata Banerjee has always been very close to Sonia Gandhi. She regards her as the real leader of the Congress party and not Rahul. There have been problems within the Congress in trying to project Rahul. And Mamata never accepted him.
Paucity of time. A quick rebuttal from Sanju. I want to get in Nilanjan Das and Karan Verma also. Very quickly, yes.
You know, Gauri, I just want to say one thing for Renu Mittal. Yes, Sanju Verma comes with rehearsed lines. But Sanju Verma speaks with passion, with conviction and confidence. Unlike paid darbaris, you have been saying, oh, Narendra Modi will not come back to power after 2014. He's even Prime Minister now in 2026. You have a nice big fat omelette on your plate. Renu Mittal, please shut up. Now let me comment.
Who almost
Renu Mittal, you embarrass yourself. You are a paid
Sanju Verma, we have to stop talking like that to each other on the panel. Come on. Nilanjan Das wants to come in. Nilanjan Das, will Mamata Banerjee and Abhishek Banerjee accept Rahul Gandhi as their leader? For any merger to happen, that's a prerequisition.
It's not about... No. Mamata Banerjee went to the residence of Sonia Gandhi ji and Abhishek Banerjee went to Rahul Gandhi ji because they want to talk about a formidable alliance in Bengal. See, the 2026 elections, in these elections, you have to let me finish. In the 2026 elections, the Congress fought separately. They fought on all the 294 constituencies. And so, of course, the exchanges were made, political dialogue was done. But now we feel that in order to stop and in order to defeat this BJP that believes in Sam Dam Dand Bhed, they have used the ECI to loot this mandate.
Please. Okay, so as I said, questions may be different. It seems like Nilanjan Das's answers are the same. You know, I'm completely out of time, but in the spirit of fairness, I want to give Karan Verma the final word. 30 seconds, Karan. I'm completely out of time.
Get out somewhere else.
So, you know, Gauri, what Renuji said, it cannot be more wrong. She said that BJP would also fall apart. BJP's been out of power for the longest time in so many states, but they've hung in there. That's the power of ideology. Unfortunately, the opposition or these parties that break, they don't have that glue of ideology. This is precisely what they should learn from the BJP, which is why they've been comfortable and not broken apart.
Okay, so as you know, there's one thing to say. As I said, I'm completely out of time. We have a very special interview on the other side. We have a very special interview on the other side. NDTV's editor-in-chief, Rahul Kanwal, in conversation with India's chief economic advisor. But as we wrap this up, one thing is very clear, viewers, that there are just too many moving parts to the TMC saga. It is far from over. Monday is when they have been given time by the speaker. Let's see how many people are actually there. What's the size of that rebel camp? Is it 18? Is it 19? Is it more than 20, as some are saying? Where that final number stops is exactly where we think and we see how things unravel. I'm going to leave it there. Thanks so much for watching this edition of The Buck Stops Here.
The front lines of Kargil. The fury of Operation Sindhu.
so many attacks.
The chaos and cries of disaster zones to fighter jet cockpits and the world's most defining interviews.
It's incredible.
He has seen history break. Live, unfiltered. 20,000 hours of live broadcasting.
Welcome to Left, Right and Centre.
Hard facts.
War-struck country.
Hard questions.
In the Ukraine.
30 years of trust.
In the Kargil area. North Ukraine. In France, in Italy. At Srinagar. Vishnu Shom for NDTV.
Vishnu Shom. Only on NDTV.
Across the country.
He has tracked the pulse of power from Washington to Korea. Witnessed history being made in global capitals and conflict zones. Brought clarity to complex issues of national security and international affairs. Aditya Raj Kaul, covering international affairs like no one else. Only on NDTV network.
At just 23 years old, Tushar Kumar has scripted history in Britain. From King's College London to mayoral ropes, the Labour councillor is now the youngest ever Indian origin mayor in UK history. On the 13th of May this year, Tushar Kumar was officially elected mayor of Elstree and Borehamwood in Hertfordshire. His appointment came during the town council's annual mayor-making ceremony, attended by civic leaders, residents, faith groups and community organisations. At 23, he is now making headlines across Britain and the Indian diaspora. But Kumar's political rise began much earlier. While studying political science at King's College London, he was elected as a councillor at just 20 years old. Before becoming mayor, he also served as deputy mayor, building a reputation for youth outreach, digital accessibility and community cohesion. Beyond politics, Kumar has focused heavily on community engagement. He previously worked as a policy advisor for the UK's Department of Work and Pensions. He also runs free Hindi language classes for British English children and has organised Diwali, Republic Day and Independence Day celebrations in Borehamwood. Supporters call him a youth icon with grassroots credibility. And politics clearly runs in the family. Kumar credits his mother, former Deputy Mayor Parveen Rani, as his political mentor and biggest inspiration. Now the 23-year-old says he wants to...
The government spoke of the economy being in a Goldilocks period. Low inflation, high growth. Talk about things going wrong, because 4 weeks after that, the war started, a war which at this moment we seem to have no idea about. Whether it is ending, has ended, will end, will never end, when will it end, we don't quite know. And therefore, in this massive economic turbulence, navigating the economic ship is amongst the toughest thing one can have to do. What's the diagnosis at this moment? How much of the typhoon has the economy dealt with? How much lies out in the future? And what's the time frame? Do things get worse in days, weeks, months, or do they not get bad at all? To talk about this, I'm joined by the man who's in the unenviable position of having to predict multiple unknowns all at the same time. Can we have a round of applause for Dr. Anant Nageshwaran? Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Rahul.
And welcome to NDTV Ignite. It's great to have you with us. When people look at the economic situation at this moment, they wonder, is this the worst? Is the worst behind us? Is the worst ahead of us? How far ahead of us is the worst when it comes to the growth trajectory of the Indian economy? So let's kick off from there.
Thank you, Rahul. I think in your initial context-setting remarks, you had a very multi-layered statement to make. Why February 1st? In fact, I would even say February 27th evening, together with the Secretary, Ministry of Statistics, we were releasing the new GDP series, and I was saying, look, I'm upgrading my GDP growth projection for FY27 from 6.8 to 7.2 range. I was upgrading it to between 7 and 7.4. It might sound like a trivial change, but I was removing the 6 angle completely. But then next morning, everything changed. So look, we still have large unknown unknowns, especially the El Nino effect on the monsoon, etc. But having said that, I would say now in the last 1 week or so, I'm beginning to breathe a little easier. I can see a glimpse of the possibility of India kind of having seen the worst in terms of potential impact of the ongoing conflict. So I wouldn't have felt this way in April or May, but now I'm beginning to think that with the measures put in place on Friday, the 5th of June, and considering how the oil price has behaved so far and how the fertilizer prices are moving right now, I have a feeling that we may be able to handle FY27 much better than what we may have feared in April or May.
You know, when we spoke after your economic survey, right, I said you were being overly conservative. I now think you're being overly optimistic. Are you trying to talk up spirits? Because you're saying that the worst is behind us. I'm not sure. Try and explain why. And you're saying that we will do well. When so much is going wrong, why do you think we'll do well?
No, I think you are right to push me back, Rahul, but I was making a relative statement. I think if I said, I didn't say I am confident of saying, I'm confident of our economy doing better than what I thought on February 27. That's not what I said. I said compared to what I may have feared in April and May, I'm beginning to breathe a little easier. So I was kind of hedging myself still, and you still want to push me back. But I think I still concede the big unknown.
No, you'll have to explain this, because you're saying that you're feeling better now than you were in April.
So I'll give you
Try and explain that, because a lot of the economic writing that's coming out of different think tanks, different banks, economists, they're saying that the actual impact of the turbulence of the past 100 days will be felt in the quarters ahead of us. So what makes you think that the worst is behind us?
First of all, there are multiple answers to your point. First, we are going to have a GDP estimate of 7.7 for last year, FY26. And RBI has come up with 6.6, which is a 1.1 percentage point lower than last year, with a downside risk attached to it. I still stand by that. I think that's a fair characterization. And then RBI says 5.1% inflation with an upside risk attached to it. That's also correct. So we are going to see the impact in terms of higher inflation and lower growth compared to last year. It's about the magnitude of the impact. There, I am beginning to breathe a little easier, and that reason is, I think oil price has behaved far better than anybody might have anticipated, given this blockade and given the conflict, because A, there is excess supply coming from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve of the US and other countries, and China's demand has been extremely low. China has been buying far less oil than they used to. And then look at the second, besides oil, the second biggest impact on us would have been the fertilizer price. And urea prices today are lower than what they were even before the conflict began. That would have been a huge hole in our fiscal budget, in the cost of cultivation. A lot of things would have had a sort of a chain effect, chain reaction based on that. That is also now seems to be very much under control. And the third reason is, on Friday, the 5th of June, we took some actions on the balance of payments side through bond market withholding tax, capital gains tax exemptions on sovereign bonds, and RBI's FCNRB scheme. And fourthly, I took a very close look at the way our oil import behaved in 22-23 when the Russia-Ukraine war started. That year, our oil import quantity went up by 8 to 9%, and the price also went up, was remaining above 100 for 5 to 6 months, and yet the current account deficit went to only about 2.2% of GDP. Now, if the fertilizer price had not come back all the way below the pre-conflict level, I wouldn't be sounding this much more relaxed than I am. But it is precisely the behavior of the oil price until now, and the urea price decline, and the action we took on June 5th. I think all these things are making me breathe a little easier compared to April.
Whether this is true or not, we will know in some time.
Of course.
But the fact that the economic advisor, who's I've seen clearly very conservative in terms of his forecasting, thinking that the worst is behind us, is a significant point that you're making. Explain what you imagine to be the role of China in stabilizing oil prices and helping urea prices actually come down.
Sure.
Is this happening because China is trying to play the role of the emergent superpower, or does it reflect deep underlying distress in the Chinese economy, because of which they simply don't have enough urea consumption of their own, which is why they're exporting?
No, I think whether they are playing the emergent superpower or not is beyond my pay grade to speculate on. But definitely, I think the domestic economic stagnation that continues in their economy is playing probably a big role in the reduction in their crude oil import. I mean, of course, they did play a stabilizing role in the 97-98 Asian crisis. And then in 2008 global financial crisis as well, they did play a stabilizing role. So it could very well be possible that they are playing a conscious stabilizing role, which I can't rule out. But that said, I would probably attach greater weight to the possibility that their continued domestic economic stagnation is playing a very big part in bringing their oil price down and also opening up the urea market for export. But be that as it may, regardless of what the underlying cost is, both are helping the Indian economy and our own external situation quite considerably at this point.
We've seen about a 7.5 rupee pass-through on petrol and diesel prices from the oil marketing companies to Indian consumers. Dr. Nageshwaran, according to you, how much more of a pass-through is required or likely in the days and weeks ahead?
So how much more is required, of course, will depend on the evolution of the oil price going forward. But even now we can say that by raising them by 7.5 rupees, we have covered up to the last year's average price for India was $68.7 per barrel. So these increases have taken us up to, let's say, a price of $85 per barrel. So even now, with the likely evolution of the oil price this year, which is as of now, taking April and May actuals that India actually paid, which is in triple digits, but assuming that the oil prices behave the way the financial markets are discounting now, the full year price may be close to about 88, 89, and we are not too far away from what we have passed through. So what we may need to pass through further may not be that big, provided oil prices conform to what the financial markets are currently discounting.
What impact, according to you, has this war had from what you can see? We see the data that's in the public, you're seeing things from more closely on private consumption and potentially on corporate taxation, given that there is a very real concern about companies pulling back on account of contracting demand?
Sure. First reaction is, I think it is still early days, given that we only have 1 month of fiscal data for the current financial year to talk about the corporate tax revenue or personal consumption, personal taxation, etc. But having said that, it is encouraging again, one more reason for my relative calmness, so to speak. We have had 2 months of data, March and April, after the conflict began. High frequency indicators have shown that the domestic demand is holding up very well. And that could naturally mean better revenues for the corporates. And you know very well that the fourth quarter of the last financial year, profitability also turned up for the Indian corporates. And then the other good news is that the nominal GDP growth, which we assumed in the budget to be around only 10.1%, is more likely to be 12% this year rather than 10.1, which is 2 percentage points higher. And that also means better revenue compensation than what we may have assumed. So even if the buoyancy were to go down a little because of economic uncertainty, the higher base, the nominal GDP growth, will compensate for a lower buoyancy. So that is why I think we may not have to be unduly pessimistic on the revenue front.
Some of the economic forecasts that are coming on the downside are now beginning to talk about whether we could slip potentially even to a 5 point something, 5.9 or whatever. You're still holding out at 6.6. How certain, or with what degree of certainty do you feel that we're likely to be in the upper part of the 6 bracket and not inching towards the lower part of the 6?
Below 6 is possible if the conflict continues and if the production shut-in of the oil market continues, and then let's say China's lower import stops at some point, and the United States decides that its strategic petroleum reserve has come down to a level where they have to refill it, etc., and if the oil price starts ruling to the north of 100 in the second half of the Indian financial year, then an outcome of GDP below 6% is possible. But right now, if you ask me, I would say a characterization by the central bank of 6.6 with a downside risk attached to it, which could be somewhere between 20 to 30 basis points on the downside. I think that is more realistic to me as things stand.
What impact so far has this war had on the desire of Indian companies to invest? Because you, not just you, the finance minister, the prime minister, everyone in government has been trying to talk up India Inc., asking them, exhorting them to go out and invest more in the Indian economy. Again, given the capacity utilization numbers that we saw, there were some signs that this was beginning to pick up in a realistic way, which could have given us a 5-year virtuous cycle. Given that this war is now upon us and the uncertainty that it creates, are you again fearful that the groundwork that you've done, a brake has been slammed on it?
Again, sorry, we can't speculate because we don't have the data. That's one of the important data gaps in this country faces, where we don't get quarterly frequency on how the capital formation in the private sector is happening in the country. But that said, look, if you look at the overall capital formation rate, it's about 32% of GDP in the economy, which compared to many other countries in Asia, it's actually on the high side, given the level of uncertainties in the world. And secondly, the CII keeps sharing bottom-up data on corporate investment, and they say that the listed companies in general are actually beginning to invest a lot more than what they used to do until about FY24 or so. So they are saying that from the second half of FY25, continuing into FY26, listed companies have ramped up their investments. So obviously this war definitely would have made them pause a little bit, but there are compensating factors for us, which is the trade agreement with the UK, trade agreement with the European Union, and the renewed interest in European Union in terms of diversifying from dependence on China, etc. I think there are other compensating factors that are coming into play, which might offset the uncertainty caused by the war. Therefore, it is difficult for me to speculate beyond this on what the magnitudes will be, because we don't have the data, but there are compensating factors.
Now, you're speaking of compensating factors. Let me counter argue that these free trade agreements potentially create the prospects of further imports coming into India from these advanced economies with which we're now either signed up or signing free trade agreements without our manufacturing being competitive enough at this moment. So it could actually work in converse as well, because one of the experts who came to Ignite in the morning, the argument that he was making was that a free trade agreement at a time of relative calm and of growth is one thing. Given that these agreements are being signed at this moment, when there is uncertainty, all the products from countries like New Zealand, Canada, elsewhere, United States, once that deal concludes, could start coming into the Indian markets, creating further trouble for Indian corporates.
No. If there are going to be imports coming from a region with whom we have signed a free trade agreement, obviously those imports are coming in from there in lieu of where else they might have come from. And that would mean that we are getting them at a lower price, only then our businesses would substitute for them. That still means lower landed cost. So even if those imports pick up from those regions, I am sure it is because in lieu of some other source. And therefore, I wouldn't consider that as a negative, I would consider as a positive. If you are importing equipment from country A, and now country B is your free trade agreement partner, and the duties have dropped to zero, and therefore it has become more competitive, then please tell me that my input costs have gone up. Unfortunately, no.
No, what about products coming in for the use of consumers, which potentially may have been buying from Indian companies, then buying from companies from where now you have an FTA?
Most of our imports are mainly infrastructure and intermediate goods. So you have to get into the weeds of the imports to be able to make such definitive statements. And secondly, both UK and the EU agreement are giving us a lot of opportunity in terms of labor-intensive manufacturing and services, opening up those markets which were closed earlier. And to that extent, those businesses, especially the medium enterprises ones, now have an incentive to ramp up their investment to be able to meet the norms set by those countries. So I think on balance, our imported goods will become less costlier if we are sourcing it from a free FTA agreement country, and the market opening that we have got for labor-intensive goods and services will be incrementally positive. I think it is somewhat, in my opinion, somewhat a stretch of an argument to say that this this could be actually negative.
You know, you spoke of data which we don't get. Let's speak for a moment for data that we do get. And I want to take unemployment numbers. The headline numbers from the PLFS says that, the periodic labor force says that headline unemployment is 3.2%. When people look at that and just anecdotally and they look around, India having an unemployment headline number of 3.2 just intuitively and instinctively feels to be an underassessment.
So I think people have to separate both involuntary and voluntary unemployment, because what the unemployment rate measures, there is a usual status, there is a weekly status. So it depends on the kind of questions people ask. And second, if you are been looking for work and if you are willing to take up whatever work that is offered to you, and yet you are not employed, then you are counting as unemployed. So it depends on the way the people are choosing to remain unemployed. If there is a lot of involuntary unemployment, then you may see that a lot of people are unemployed, but you don't know whether they are voluntary or involuntary. Okay, involuntary ones will count. But if you are voluntarily unemployed, it won't count. So you may on the streets, if you encounter some 20 people who could have been employed but are not, you have to find out which one is voluntary, which one is involuntary. That is why your anecdotal evidence and what statistical evidence presents you may appear somewhat disconnected. And secondly, I think we are not doing as good a job as we can yet, and it is a question of data improvement. We are not measuring the gig economy work as well as we do. I think a lot of people are taking, not being part of a formal workforce, but still having 2 or 3 jobs because they feel the flexibility suits them. I think we are not doing as good a job of measuring them, etc. And at the end of the day, it is still true that notwithstanding all these question marks in people's heads about employment, household incomes have been growing much better than what people have been expecting, given this kind of anecdotal perception on employment. So I think on balance, given the kind of uncertainties that is there in the world, I think the employment picture as revealed by the PLFS is an accurate one.
One of the government's big promises has been that India will become a Viksit Bharat by 2047. Now this fundamentally requires growth to be above 8% for 2 decades and more for us to be able to achieve it. Now we've seen for 2 years growth being less than 8%, and this year somewhere around 6.6%, maybe lower. Does this war just make that much tougher the already very difficult task of India becoming a developed country by 2047? And does it exacerbate the risk of India getting caught in a middle income trap?
Look, obviously every year where the growth rate doesn't meet a particular level that you think is required. First of all, I don't think it's necessarily true that you need to grow at 8% in real terms in Indian rupees over the next 25 years for you to get to the Viksit Bharat status.
What are your calculations?
So in fact, a growth rate of between 6.5% and 7% in real terms in Indian rupee, and that too it cannot continue until 2047, because by definition, as the base becomes larger and larger, the growth rate will taper off. So up to 2035, if you are able to grow on average between 6.5 and 7, and after that if it tapers, ultimately in dollar terms, you also have to take into account the inflation rate that will prevail in the United States. That is so basically the way you calculate your dollar GDP is, growth rate in dollar GDP is Indian real growth rate plus the United States inflation rate will give you the Indian GDP in dollar terms. Now, many developed countries are suffering from high public debt, and therefore there is a possibility of inflation tolerance in those countries in the coming years in order to bring down the debt. That is how they brought down their debt, among other things, after the end of World War II. So, given all of that, even if your growth rate after being at 6.5 to 7 for a decade and then tapers off to below 6 and then tapers off further in 2040s to around 5.5%, if the US inflation rate is averaging between 3 and 4%, then your ability to achieve the figure of between 25 and $30 trillion of GDP is possible. And philosophically, I will also add that at the end of the day, we have to keep doing whatever is in our control in order to get that goal. But exogenous factors can always either aid you or hamper you. That's not in your control.
Do you feel sometimes unlucky? Because there are two things this government did. One is when corporate taxes were reduced, soon after COVID happened. Now you rationalize GST in a big way. Again, the government implementing the policy maneuver that it could. and soon after the war happens, just when you expect a takeoff?
That's a very good question, Rahul. I think in general, we should not rule out the role of luck in outcomes. And I think it's usually human nature is to attribute it to oneself if it succeeds and attribute it to bad luck if it doesn't. So I think, but beyond a point, that's also exogenous. You have to take it as it comes. But we have to keep plugging away. And I'm sure one day the luck also will turn. For example, from 2014-15 onwards, when the government came to office, initially there were deficient monsoons, but then we also enjoyed a very sharp decline in the energy price, in the global crude oil price. So as the government was dealing with the aftermath of the banking NPA crisis and deficient monsoons and trying to fix the fiscal deficit, which was high when they inherited it, the decline in energy prices helped. So that is a good fortune. So similarly, I'm sure...
while we've had a run of good monsoons for a few years, we now potentially face a super El Nino.
Right.
How worried are you? Does that keep you awake at night? And explain to those watching at this moment the impact you think a super El Nino could have on agriculture production and on the larger economy.
No, I mean, when I said I was relatively slightly breathing easier compared to April, May, but still there are two big unknowns. I said one is the energy price going forward, and second is the effect of El Nino becoming a super El Nino. I think the Kharif crop should do well, especially the cereals, pulses and oil seeds. I don't know enough. They may have an impact. But more than the Kharif crop, the real impact could be in the next Rabi crop, because the super El Nino will probably be felt towards the latter half of the calendar year. It may not be felt during the current monsoon season, but yes, to the extent...
How is the government preparing for that scenario?
I think the government is obviously assessing the reservoir levels, the stock levels of fertilizers, and how much is sowing happening, and whether there is enough. So like in the previous such situations, it is the management of inventory, management of export and import, ensuring adequate quantities, and domestic inflation not rising, etc., apart from ensuring water resources. And luckily for us, the reservoir levels
are we prepared, Dr. Nageshwaran, to deal with a super El Nino, according to you?
I don't have the information to say whether we are prepared or not, but I can say reservoir levels are 23% higher than what they were last year. And the sowing by the farmers who are aware of the projections by the IMD, both in April and May, the sowings have been much healthier than last year. So the farmers seem to be assessing that given the stock of fertilizers and given the stock of, given the reservoir levels, they feel that they can handle the impact of the super El Nino on the Kharif crop output. That much confidence we can say.
Let's spend a moment on the dollar and where things stand versus the rupee. We've dealt with the politics of it. Different people have come and they've spoken of how weak a government this is. The dollar could be headed to 100 rupees. From an economic lens, how much of forex should the RBI burn to try and protect the level of the dollar versus the rupee, just so that politically it doesn't fall under 100 rupees?
I think the central bank Central bank may have expended reserves in moderating the volatility of the currency in the past 2 years, but with the action taken on Friday, both with respect to the bonds and with respect to the inflow of dollars, I don't think the RBI will be required to burn dollars to defend or manage the currency volatility going forward.
Women, does your body mystify myths? You know what to do.
Put on a happy face, yeah?
More teasers, looking on the light side for 90 years.
Wouldn't life be so much easier if you could control your blinds at the touch of a button? With Ultra Smart Blinds from Appeal, there's no chains, cords or wiring, because these stylish blinds are driven by a rechargeable power pack. New Ultra Smart Blinds from Appeal, the intelligent solution for home shading.
This summer at Tesco Mobile, there's even more Club Card points to help you make more of your summer. Get our 100 gig SIM for just £15 a month with Club Card prices, saving you £60. Plus get a fantastic £20 worth of Club Card points worth double with over 100 reward partners, or even triple with selected eating out venues. It pays to be connected. Search Tesco Mobile. Every little helps.
Gradually reduce greys the easiest way with Control GX Grey Reducing Shampoo. Reduce a little grey every time you wash for subtle looking results. Control GX from Just for Men.
Can meals be delicious, convenient and healthy? Yes. Field Doctor's recipes are dietitian designed and chef inspired so they taste great. Create your personalised Field Doctor menu to suit your dietary needs, made with whole foods. Award-winning meals delivered straight to your door, ready in minutes. Use code TV20 for 20% off your first 2 boxes. Go to fielddoctor.co.uk/TV. Field Doctor, feed your health.
With Select Specs £6 specs, there's so much to see. So much style, so much choice, so much value. And so much convenience with next day delivery and our famous See Now, Pay Later offers. Complete prescription glasses from just £6 a pair at selectspecs.com/£6. You don't get that on the high street. selectspecs.com/£6.
I urgently need to ask for your help on behalf of animals at risk right now. With the pandemic came a surge in pet ownership. And sadly, we're now seeing a serious rise in neglect, cruelty and abuse. Our services are being stretched to the limit. To make matters worse, our costs are soaring too. But we refuse to let animals suffer. So please, act now to help rescue the growing number of animals who've never needed us more. Please call or text the number on screen now to give £2 a month to the RSPCA. In one of the toughest times we have ever experienced, your gift will make all the difference to animals. You could help provide more life-saving treatment, food, shelter, and the loving care that many have never known. We know there are millions of you who, like us, care deeply and won't stand by while animals are suffering. We have to reach those trapped in a life of abuse and neglect before it's too late. Because for many, the RSPCA is their only hope. But we can only come to the rescue with the support of people like you. So please, will you help us be there no matter what? Call 0800 313 4392 or text RSPCA to 78866 to start your monthly gift today. Thank you.
As a dad, I know life's unpredictable. It's all fun and games until it's not. That's why I'm not putting things off anymore and protecting the life we've built by calling Smart Insurance.
You can choose a benefit amount up to £750,000 depending on your age, all done over the phone for instant peace of mind and protection for your family. And we know family life doesn't wait, so as part of our Smart Family Guarantee, your loved ones are protected from day one. And 10% cash back on your first year's premiums. That's the Smart Cashback.
To get a free quote today, call our specialist UK team or visit smartinsurance.co.uk.
Your home could help open doors to the retirement you want. Releasing equity from your home could give you the financial freedom to enjoy more of what matters. With 25 years' experience, we know this won't be right for everyone. But an Aviva Equity Release Advisor can help you decide what's right for you. Talk to Aviva about equity release today and see how your home can open doors.
Unexpected expense? Drafty's got your back. Borrowing £100 for a month costs less than £6. Apply at drafty.co.uk.
Our first year as a family flew by. And now, I want to make sure he'll be financially protected for all his birthdays to come. That's why I'm calling Smart Insurance.
Hi, how can I help?
Hi, I'd like a quick quote for family life insurance.
OK, you can choose a benefit amount up to £750,000 depending on your age.
That's great.
If you're a UK resident aged 18 to 64, you can apply with just a few health and lifestyle questions, all done over the phone for instant peace of mind and protection for your family.
That's easier than I thought. And one less thing to worry about.
And we know family life doesn't wait. So as part of our Smart Family Guarantee, your loved ones are protected from day one. And for even more family protection, you can add cover for your children or critical illness. And 10% cash back on your first year's premiums. That's the Smart Cashback.
Protect the life you've built the smart way. To get a free quote today, call our specialist UK team on 0808 141 5855 or visit smartinsurance.co.uk.
When you love donkeys as much as I do, it's really hard to believe that anyone could hurt them.
But so many in the UK are suffering right now. Donkeys like Timmy and Tommy. We found them imprisoned in filthy conditions, desperately underweight and in terrible pain. And Echo, he had been abandoned and left with overgrown, twisted hooves. Every step he took was agony. He couldn't have survived like this much longer. Donkeys are such beautiful, sensitive animals, and it's so wrong knowing that they're still being mistreated in our country today.
If you care about what happens to our precious donkeys, please, will you do something to help protect them? You can by calling 0800 035 7805 and giving £2 a month to the Donkey Sanctuary. When you do, you will help a welfare advisor like Sally rescue donkeys and bring them to safety. You'll help us treat the sick, heal the injured, and give them all the love they need.
It's amazing to see donkeys finally have the happy lives they so deserve.
So please, help us keep our donkeys safe from harm. Call 0800 035 7805 or text Rescue 6 to 78866 and give £2 a month to the Donkey Sanctuary. Because so many donkeys like Timmy and Tommy are cruelly suffering. Please help us protect them right now.
When an unexpected expense catches you offside, Drafty can get you back in the game. Drafty Flex is like a handy pot of cash when you need it. There's credit up to £3,000 and money sent to your bank in 90 seconds. Borrowing £100 for 30 days costs under £6. Be prepared for the unexpected with Drafty. Apply at drafty.co.uk.
With retirement round the corner, I want to spend more time with my family and less time worrying about the numbers. Which reminds me.
Welcome to British Seniors, the UK's #1 rated provider of over 50s life insurance.
Hi, I'd like a quick quote.
No problem. We're proud to offer our seniors lifetime guarantee. With 100% of claims having been paid, we guarantee your premiums will never go up and that you'll speak to one of our specialists in the UK. UK residents aged 50 to 80 are guaranteed to be accepted.
Depending on your age, your loved ones can get a cash payout up to £10,000 when you pass away.
And that money could help with funeral costs or even as a gift for the grandkids. I'll do it.
Plus, when you sign up, you'll receive a £135 gift card and free 24/7 GP advice and health services.
You got them all right. That's amazing.
Be proud to protect your loved ones with British Seniors. To get a free quote today, call our UK team on 0800 977 5808 or visit britishseniors.co.uk.
They can make me laugh lots and lots and lots and lots. They have to write arts and crafts, colouring, diamond art. Their favourite food is chocolate cake. They should have lots of pets. Goldfish, and then tigers, cats and ducks. They should be able to do a Rubik's Cube as fast as me, which is in 1.27 seconds. There can be a magician, so they can magically make me better. They would have to be caring. Strong. Give me the medicine and let me go home. Thank you.
Powerful industries, giant corporations, and there are governments, and you know there are more than one government here. All of that may be unavoidable. It's a reality. But a year after that plane went down, the families of those on board are no closer to the truth, and that is its own kind of loss. It is losing your loved one all over again every single day. Here's hoping that before the second anniversary of Flight AI 171, there is a final report, that there is real closure, that the truth is finally allowed to land. It has become the most viewed and most talked about story all year, and it was a pair of comments inside a comedy night on Delhi's outskirts in Gurugram. What began as a viral stand-up clip has now snowballed into a full-blown political and legal controversy. The Praneeth More Ashleel show has drawn such sharp attention today, especially after Maharashtra Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis has waded into this issue. He said, in as clear words as possible, certain dignity has to be maintained. But the controversy is no longer confined to a single joke. Another viral clip from the same show featuring a medical student named Sejal Pawar discussing cadavers and donated bodies has triggered a fresh wave of outrage, with people trying to equate the two and say, why attention on one and why not the other? It's drawn criticism from sections of the medical fraternity, raising uncomfortable questions about professional ethics and sensitivity. One was about consent, this one was about medical ethics and sensitivity. Facing mounting a backlash, Sejal, 22 years old, has issued an unconditional apology, but the fallout continues and she may be in big trouble.
तो हमने चिकन बिरयानी खाई, भाई होगी 360-370 रुपए की.
There's a thin line between what is funny and what is not. Latest example of it came from a Gurugram comedy show. Comedian Praneeth More, Dr. Sejal Pawar and Himanshu Jangra. They thought it was harmless but paid a price when the reality check happened. Video went viral, action followed. National Commission for Women summons Praneeth More, Himanshu Jangra, while Maharashtra cops have booked the duo along with Dr. Sejal Pawar. Dr. Sejal Pawar, during a crowd work segment, said how they joke about private parts of male dead bodies donated for medical purposes. Dr. Sejal Pawar's college too has ordered internal probe against her. As criticism intensified, Sejal Pawar shared an apology on Instagram.
मेरा जो 3 महीने पहले मैंने शो किया था, उसका एक पार्ट ऑफ द क्लिप वायरल हो रहा है अभी, जिसमें मैंने एक चीज़ बोली थी. एंड आई जस्ट वांटेड टू कम हियर एंड से दैट आई एम वेरी सॉरी दैट थिंग हैपेंड एंड I said the very wrong thing.
Himanshu Jangra has also been facing heat. His rupees 370 ki biryani comment continues to spark a wider debate on consent, entitlement and misogyny. The Gurugram-based web developer Himanshu Jangra was sacked from his job by Starvik Design after the outrage.
I have the responsibility towards the company, our team, our clients, and the environment we created. That is why we have decided to part ways with Himanshu.
As the controversy refuses to die down, comedian Praneeth More also apologized and temporarily deactivated his Instagram account. But critics accuse him of amplifying problematic comments through crowd work content, while supporters argued that responsibility should not rest solely with the performer. As investigations continue, the debate over accountability in the age of digital content shows no signs of slowing down. Bureau Report, NDTV.
And no one less than Chief Minister Fadnavis of Maharashtra waded into this entire thing. Here's what he said today.
अभिव्यक्ति का स्वातंत्र्य भारत के संविधान ने सभी को दिया है, लेकिन उसके साथ साथ इसका दुरुपयोग न हो, इस प्रकार की व्यवस्था भी उसी संविधान ने तैयार की है. जब कोई अभिव्यक्ति अमर्याद हो जाती है तो समाज के लोगों के डिग्निफाइड जीने का जो अधिकार है, उस अधिकार पर वो आक्रमण करती है. और इस प्रकार का आक्रमण ये हमारे संविधान को मंजूर नहीं है. इसलिए मुझे ये लगता है कि स्टैंड अप कॉमेडी सभी को पसंद है, मैं स्वयं भी देखता हूं, उससे मनोरंजन भी होता है. लेकिन मनोरंजन करते करते हम समाज की सीमाओं को और डिग्निटी की सीमाओं को अगर उसका उल्लंघन करेंगे तो ये सही नहीं होगा.
And joining me live now is Amruta Fadnavis, the wife of Chief Minister Fadnavis of Maharashtra. Ms. Fadnavis, thank you for speaking to NDTV. This is a sensitive topic, so I appreciate you joining me on this. your reaction to the comments that came out of that comedy night. Chief Minister Fadnavis has also just spoken. You've heard what he said. He said comedy shouldn't cross any limits. An FIR has been lodged against, the comedian who was responsible. I want to ask you first about what you thought about the comments made by the boy, the 370 rupee biryani comment.
My reaction, Shivji, is I'm feeling very angry, I'm feeling sad, and I feel that it's unfortunate in our country. We have to resort to these kind of crowd works with crude humor and dark comedy. So I think so it is not acceptable, especially when he spoke about, the stand-up comedian spoke about rupees 370 on a meal, which entitles him to physical intimacy. I feel it really oppresses consent and it's misogyny. I feel freedom of speech should not mislead the mindset of the young. And especially these days when still women are not out of their cages, they are still let down. These kind of comedies work very negatively towards women also and towards the young mindset of our country. So I think so it is really very, very unfortunate.
So Ms. Fadnavis, you would say that you are not at all surprised and you completely support the, the uniform anger that all women are feeling about, the words that this man used about, expecting physical intimacy after going out on a date and buying biryani, etc. Some people have come out to try and say that this is a free speech issue, but the outrage is very real and you support that.
Absolutely. It objectifies women and it takes away their self-respect. As I said, that it is a completely wrong statement and it really showcases misogyny. And it's a huge concern wherein these high money spinning comedy shows are living on this kind of vulgar stuff.
An FIR has been lodged against stand-up comic Praneeth More, whose show it was. That FIR is in your state, Ms. Fadnavis. The Chief Minister, like you said, has also spoken out today about comedy not crossing limits. So action is going to be taken against this comic who was hosting that show and sort of amplified those comments and, instead of cutting it down and stopping them, he kind of ran with it. The Commission for Women has also summoned the man who made these comments. What do you think about that? The system is acting now.
The system is trying to take care of it, but then there have been like-minded people who are a part of this.
Yeah.
There is a limit to this kind of, even if there is a dark humor also, there should be a limit, there should be a decorum, there should be a level which should not be crossed. So you should have that empathy for your own people or a concern about your own society. Then only these kind of things which are happening will stop. You have an audience to this kind of dark comedy or whatever you call it, vulgarness. So till we have this kind of audience, we'll have people who are hosting these shows. So can we as common people avoid these kind of dialogues, avoid participating in these kind of dialogues? Can we stop them as responsible citizens is also a concern.
Is there a generational issue that you feel could be at play as well? These were all, young people, late teenagers, people in their early 20s who were clapping and laughing along, to this joke. Because like you said, that shocking comment about biryani was made in a hall full of such people. Men and women were clapping, laughing, participating in the humor, Ms. Fadnavis.
If a single man or a woman or a boy or a girl would have stood up and taken this person to task, he would have been a national hero. But people just enjoy this kind of vulgarity, which at times showcases in these kind of stand-up shows or even in films. So we have to stop this somehow, or even online platforms. So I think so. We as responsible citizens, we have to be the heroes at that point of time and wake up to the whatever situation which arises in front of us.
What would you say to men of the country in the wake of this story? You know, like you yourself said, there were people laughing and clapping, obviously enjoying the joke. You know, but the anger among women is very, very real. So what would you say to men tonight, ma'am?
I would not just say this to men, or I would just say this to everyone, because there are some men and some women who are a part of this, and quite a few men and women have stood against it. I would just say that have guts. You speak later on is a part of the trend, or is part of the ongoing debate. But at that point of time, can you act? That shows how strongly you're built in terms of your value system. So if you act during these kind of occasions, many of the later issues can be sorted out very easily.
Do you think this will serve as a lesson to men? Final point, Ms. Fadnavis. Or do you think it's just a, you know, a splash that's been made on social media, people are outraging for a day and everyone will move on, but mindsets will not change?
See, it is a flash. It comes for the moment and it just gallops somewhere. And it's not to be seen. But then still similar kind of event or issue occurs again, and it's in the spotlight. So I think so it's a matter of change of mindset which we require, more of value education within us, within our families, respecting the women in our families and women around is most essential. And secondly, the people who entertain these kind of shows also should look into themselves and do some counseling.
Amrita Fadnavis, great having you. Thank you for your time and for answering questions on this very, very sensitive topic. We'll have to see legally, system-wise, where this goes, but I appreciate you talking about it here on India Matters. Thank you very much. Well, at that same comic club, there was a comment that received slightly less attention. It was made by this young doctor named Sejal Pawar. It was not a consent comment, it was a comment that was of a completely separate context, but it has also triggered a great deal of outrage, where Sejal Pawar has now had to issue a clarification amidst a huge amount of viral heat against her, where she said that her comments were taken out of context. She was talking about cadavers, she's a medical student, and she was talking about measuring certain parts, and this has been found to be very distasteful and unethical for a medical student. But the explanation has done little to quell the heat against her. The episode has now evolved into a larger conversation about professional responsibility, public speech, and whether certain subjects remain beyond the boundaries of humor. Here is Sejal Pawar in a video that she used to defend herself.
मेरा जो 3 महीने पहले मैंने शो किया था, उसका एक पार्ट ऑफ द क्लिप वायरल हो रहा है अभी, जिसमें मैंने एक चीज़ बोली थी. एंड I just wanted to come here and say that I'm very sorry that thing happened and I said the very wrong thing. I'm so sorry about that. मैंने ऐसे कभी intentionally नहीं सोचा था कि मैं वो चीज़ बोलूँगी. It's very bad to see whatever narrative has been said and बस मुझे इतना बोलना था कि शुरुआत में मैंने ये 2 बार बोली थी चीज़ कि आई रिस्पेक्ट दैट, लाइक हम उनका बहुत रिस्पेक्ट करते हैं एंड आई नो इट्स माई मिस्टेक.
Joining me live now, Dr. Kanishka Kalra. She is National Representative of the All India Medical Students Association. Also live with me, Shaina NC, a leader with the Shiv Sena, which is one of the ruling parties in the coalition that leads Maharashtra right now. Welcome to you both. Dr. Kalra, the All India Medical Students Association has issued a very strongly worded condemnation of what this young doctor in training did at that comedy club. People have found it professionally unethical and something that was in a terrible taste and also reflected badly on the medical fraternity. We hear that action might be taken against her by the KEM college and the fraternity, etc. What is your stand right now, Dr. Kalra?
Basically, that was not a comedy controversy at all. Like, this is a question for dignity as well as medical ethics and the respect for the ones who have donated their bodies for the betterment and help of the medical student itself. Look, cadaver are the first feature for our for medical students. Like the first subject we read, we learn in medical college is anatomy. And anatomy basically is what, like studying human body, what the organ is, where it is located, how it supplies, each and everything about the anatomy, human anatomy. So if someone is making a joke on the cadaver, so it's giving a wrong message, negative impact to the society also. Like those who are willing to donate their body in future will not believe or will not trust us, and as well as the medical college and medical fraternity, as this what this young doctor said in the comedy show. So
She's apologized. Shaina, do you think action should be taken against her? She's come out and, expressed regret for what happened, saying that it was taken out of context. It wasn't taken out of context. It was said as a very, very tasteless joke. But obviously the ramifications are large. The medical fraternity is outraged.
Yes, I think the medical fraternity is absolutely right in its own space, because when you learn about the anatomy and when you look up to a doctor, you always look up to a doctor with respect. Having said that, I'm glad that Dr. Sejal Pawar has come out with this apology, because it also shows you that maybe she's introspected and she's realized her mistake. And having said that, the Maharashtra Cybercrime Police have registered an FIR against More, Jangra, Dr. Sejal Pawar, and others under the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita and the IT Act for obscene, objectionable content. And all have been summoned for the inquiry. Also, the National Commission for Women have summoned them to, give their viewpoint. But I think what we need to do is really realize that humor is the essence of life. But at the same time, it comes with a sense of responsibility. You cannot outrage the entire country by disrespecting women per se. You need to introspect. And to all these comedians who believe that it is their fundamental right, yes, it is your right, but at what cost? Why are you hurting the sentiment of crores of Indian women under this free speech row? If you constantly use this kind of a crass comedy versus rape culture, I think we cannot normalize these kind of comments. We cannot be extremely liberal in our viewpoint, because if you believe by buying biryani, you can get intimate with a woman and, kind of make it as if it's a cheap joke that you've spent this money. And I'd like to quote what he said, because that is where we really need to introspect, because he said that, I spent 370 on biryani for a date and expected vasool karne ka hak. What does this mean? I mean, you cannot have this entitlement to believe that you, as a male counterpart, are superior and you can express your power and exert your so-called rights in society to say intimacy has to be paid for. I mean, it's really, I'm so glad with so much of the young generation speaking up unequivocally for women's dignity. I thought that the youngsters, and being a mother of a 27-year-old and a 20-year-old, sometimes they say, oh, mom, you're overreacting. What is the reason to have that kind of a, bookish viewpoint and everything? But I'm glad that today, when we see these kind of controversies, when you even see Dr. Sejal, not just KEM Hospital, there are so many people who have spoken up on social media and unequivocally saying they've seen the full video transcript, and comedians need to know their responsibility too in a society.
One final comment from you, Dr. Kalra. Now that Sejal Pawar, and Shaina's comment is very clear. I have a newsroom full of young people who are all uniformly outraged by the words of the man who made the biryani comment. People are a little divided about the cadaver comment, but there is, I think people agree that it was very, very distasteful to do something like that, and it was disrespectful. But do you think action needs to be taken against her now that she's apologized? Dr. Kalra, very quickly.
I think that action should be taken for that young doctor, because she has made a joke for the cadaver, and to the doctors also she had made joke like the people will not trust doctor easily in future also. So I think an apology is the first step that she has given on social media, but a strict action should be taken to her.
Okay. Okay, we'll keep a track of that. The system
I have a different take on that, huh?
Yeah, very quickly, Shaina. I have 20 seconds.
Quite surprised by. Yeah, I just feel that Dr. Sejal Pawar has apologized and she knows she has made a mistake. And of course, if people are donating, their organs, they would want to be looked at with dignity. And we as a society must speak.
Yeah.
But at every given reference, you cannot compare what More and Jangra have said vis-a-vis what Sejal
Yeah,
has
there is no, I agree completely with that. There's no comparison between the two at all. One was about consent, the other is about, indignity and professional ethics. And I think what Dr. Kalra says is an important point. And I think it needs to be taken very seriously as well. But it's a little bit more complicated than the first one. I thank the both of you for joining me, Dr. Kalra and Shaina. Good to have you on this topic and to get everyone to talk about this sensitive issue at this point of time. Up next, we've got a session that I just recorded with Sanjeev Sanyal and Amish Tripathi. It's an incredible topic on civilization and what it means for the future of India. This was at the Ignite NDTV Summit. Enjoy. Probably done more than most to make Indians look backwards in order to think forwards. And this is very important. One is an economist who you all recognize, who somehow spends as much time talking about ancient ports, sailing in boats across the seas, lost rivers, forgotten empires, as he does about GDP and public policy. The other is a banker turned author, one of India's best, who convinced millions of Indians that Shiva wasn't just a god in a temple, but a living civilizational idea. Now, between them, they've helped popularize the notion, apart from their main jobs, that India's future may actually be easier to understand if we understand India's past and why it's so critical never to forget what came before us. So it's my pleasure to welcome Sanjeev Sanyal and Amish Tripathi on stage here at the Ignite Future India Summit. I'm going to start off, first of all, because these are two very busy men who have incredibly interesting side projects, which I'm going to get into in just a bit. But my first question, and Sanjeev, I'll kick it off with you. What, in your view, is the most visible sign in the last 12 years of India's civilizational identity being present in our public life, in what we see around us?
So the important thing is that I think that has changed in the last 12 years under the Honorable Prime Minister Modi's leadership is the fact that we have begun to view our history in a fundamentally different way to inform our present. So somehow in the past, we thought of our history as something to be fearful of. It was basically a series of conquests and, okay, we survived, but then the world was something to fear. And that, by the way, filtered through to the way our foreign policy was, the way we, for example, dealt with the world in terms of import substitution and so on. So what happens as a result of this is that it is a very defensive view of the world. The switch, on the other hand, to this other view of history is that, no, we were a much more adventurous, expansionist people. We explored the world. We went to far-off places. We explored. We were adventurous. We took risks. This is a world where our ancient temples were financing these great voyages. They were financing industrial expansion. And so this is a very different worldview. So this is a worldview of risk-taking. And that then filters through, there's a direct link between that and, for example, helping startups. The idea of creative destruction, which is there in the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code, directly through to thinking of Make in India, but not in the old import substitution way, but in terms of taking on the world. So it's a fundamentally different sort of switch in our head that Prime Minister Modi has been able to turn on.
Sanjeev knows a thing or two about risk-taking because he built an entire ancient boat from scratch and then actually sailed it across the Arabian Sea to Oman. So he practices what he preaches. Amish, same question to you. 12 years, this is a world you live in. It's already something that is familiar to you. You're seeing a lot more of it now in daily life, in public policy, in normal public conversations as well, what would you say is the most important reflection of that civilizational kind of awareness and awakening in our public life that has changed in the last decade?
I think in some ways it's become so obvious that you don't even need to speak about it. I wrote my first book in 2010.
Yeah.
And the first time I was invited to a Lit Fest, I think that was 2011, 2012. I'd gone up on stage and I'd said, I'm a very proud Hindu. And yes, the people on stage with me and the audience, just almost kind of froze up. And this was in a land that has been Hindu for thousands of years. That doesn't mean that we are against any other religion or any other way of life. Of course not. We've always been welcoming. But the fact that that was the state of at least the elite conversations in India for that long is something that tells us how far we had gone from our roots. I agree with Sanjeev when he says that we just survived. We weren't thriving. And that was because actually we weren't connected to our roots. A tree, if the roots start drying, it may look like the tree is still alive, but over time, the nutrition dies out. What's happening now is that the roots are getting stronger. And over time, that just becomes more and more and more obvious. It informs us in most of the conversations that we're having. The fact that we're talking about what kind of urban governance we should have, how the monsoon system should be managed, how our trading should be, the fact that we are much more Indian Ocean focused than quote-unquote Northwest invader focused. We're just getting more and more rooted, and that is a very good thing. I'm not saying we need to swing to the other extreme and not allow noble thoughts to come from all parts of the world. Our ancestors never had that attitude, yeah? Ano Bhadra, Kruto, Yattu, Vishwata. Let all noble thoughts come from all corners of the world. But we must be rooted in our own traditions, in our own land first. That's most critical.
Sanjeev, you said something that struck me about looking back at the risk-taking impulses of our ancestors. And that's a very interesting thing that you've said. Are you suggesting that, India as we know it now has, over the centuries and decades perhaps, kind of lost that appetite for risk? And that's what this civilizational awakening is about? Being outgoing, going out there?
Absolutely. In fact, this was deliberately inculcated into us. So we were told that from ancient times, Indians were scared of crossing the oceans. Absolutely not true. We were the greatest explorers of the ancient world. I mean, it's not for nothing that the largest Hindu temple in the world is in Cambodia, not in India. How did it get there? Somebody must have gone there. How did he get there? Only by sailing. So there is a huge amount of evidence of this expansionary kind of civilizational zest that we have once had. And instead we were sort of put into us that, yes, Indians did some spiritual thing, maybe they were doing meditation throughout those thousands of years, and basically, we had no agency. People would come, invade, provide us with, new recipes for biryani or built a few nice buildings, but basically we had no agency in this whole thing, and we were passively accepting all of this. And so systematically our history was changed in order to insert this idea. And we imbibed it to such an extent that we ourselves, even those, by the way, who may agree with me otherwise, have imbibed it to such an extent, they find it quite difficult when I tell people that, in fact, Indians were quite expansionist, culturally expansionist, even militarily expansionist. I mean, there's lots of evidence of Indian naval activity in other parts of the world. There were Indian mercenaries everywhere in the world, particularly in the Middle East, and so on and so forth. So, this idea of this country and people who somehow have no agency and sitting around waiting for some foreigner to invade us and give us civilization. And this was done so systematically. That is what is interesting. It's not like we ended up here by chance. The British even told us basically that, look, even the little bit of civilization you're proud of, Guess what? There are these white people from Central Asia who came and told you them this, and they are called the Aryans. And all we are doing by invading and taking over is giving you a software update. Why are you complaining? So this has been done very systematically to us. Now, of course, every colonizing power did this to whoever they colonized. Our problem was that for 70 odd years after independence, we ourselves perpetuated it. So much so that it's only very recently that it's been finally peeled out of our NCERT books, out of our national conversations and so on. And in fact, I continuously have to push back against these kinds of ideas that, that we were somehow naturally a pacifist